All right, good morning, everybody. It is the middle of October. It is a Wednesday.
Mike.
It is a hump day. Glad to have you in, where we're going to treat this show like 1968.
Listening. What? There was a lot of good things, I'm sure, that happened in 1968.
What do you think happened in 1968? I'm very curious. It is well before any of us were born.
Oh God.
So this would be it.
We're all in the same boat for once.
The Blackhawks were a wagon at the
Okay.
time.
That's a good
All right,
one.
that's a good start.
Bobby Hull was killing
That's a good start.
Makita was playing pretty well.
Had a great donut shop.
1968.
Uh-huh.
The Beatles were after 68. They were like 76.
Well, let me tell you.
No.
So if you watched
No.
baseball last night,
Yeah.
baseball feels like 1968 again because starting pitchers matter.
Oh, okay.
The curse of the L flag is real.
Mhm.
Good job, Dodgers. You know what, Brewers? You do that. Karma gets back to you. And so last night, the Dodgers, a complete game. We should celebrate a complete game because starting pitchers matter again if you're the Los Angeles Dodgers. Baseball might have starting pitchers back. Last night, an actual pitcher was allowed to pitch past the third time through the lineup.
None of this opener crap.
You know what? People are like, Yamamoto was great. Yes, he was great. You know what was even better? Is that Dave Roberts had his butt stapled to the bench and did not get up and try and pull Yamamoto and let him throw a complete game last night. And the Dodgers starters are on a wagon. They're seven? Dodgers are 7-1 in the postseason, but their starting pitchers like have a 1.54 ERA or in that range.
Warm those brooms
Last
up.
night, complete game. Starting pitching matters.
Isn't it awesome when a manager manages on feel? Isn't that great? Like, that's just, I don't know. Like, that's why I like Joe Madden sometimes, because he would go off a feel, and then, like, it wouldn't always be like him looking at the analytics. And then sometimes he would switch as well. But, like, I feel like in this playoffs in particularly, there have been a lot of managers who've been in love with the pieces of paper that are telling them, hey, this is the projected outcome. And you're this is more than likely to happen as opposed to this. So take out your starting pitcher a little bit too early. I like that we finally had a manager that said, you know what? Screw the analytics.
Yeah, I think
screw the numbers,
I think his
screw
own
everything.
team would have revolted on Dave Roberts, who has made some very interesting decisions. Now, when you have a bullpen that is has some holes in it, like the Dodgers,
Oh, sure.
it might make your decision a little bit easier. But Snell and Yamamoto back-to-back nights in Milwaukee. The L flag, yes, the curse is real. Couldn't happen to a nicer team.
So they can fly the L flag now for real.
They can
Yeah.
shove it up there.
Oh,
You know what?
Well, the road
That'd be
teams,
painful.
the road teams in the LCS are 2-0.
Yeah, both. Well, 4-0 total, and they're both up 2-0. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I know.
Your move, Toronto.
Mhm.
Give us a series.
No, that series is done.
I know.
That series is over.
I'm trying to get
You
us
know
more
what? So here
baseball.
I give you baseball. We cling to the past. We like to go back and like black and white stuff. So I mentioned 1968. So do you know? We will give you a prize.
Okay.
We'll give you a prize, Mr. McMaster. Do you know when the last time that the two road teams started the LCS 2-0? It was a simpler time, and also it was not best of 7.
Okay. I'll go 1988.
Ooh, that's a good year just to throw out there.
A little later in the 80s that it was 5 games, but I like where you're going.
1970. When when the LCSs were best of 5.
Okay.
A lot of
So
day games.
Cincinnati ended up sweeping Pittsburgh, and then Baltimore ended up sweeping Minnesota. So
World
I don't
Series,
know.
Brooks Robinson
You know what?
made the
I don't-
ultimate throw.
I got to think that Toronto will win a game in Seattle, but they've got to win it in the next 2, or that's a sweep.
Mhm.
I don't know about the Brewers
Oh,
because the Brewers they shot their shot with Peralta pitching at home, and now they got to go on the road to Dodger Stadium, and sometimes one team is better than the other, and Dodgers are playing really, really well. I hope they're not sweeps, but if they are, I think baseball is benefiting from the matchup we could have on the West Coast between the Dodgers and the M's.
because
5
it's a
o'clock
West
World
Coast
Series
matchup.
games.
Or...
No, not that it's a West Coast matchup. I think that would be a very good series. See, I think even though the Dodgers have kind of proven that they're the best team in baseball, and actually if they win the World Series this year, they're going to screw baseball over big time. But the Mariners feel like it's a Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like they
Destiny.
feel a team of destiny. I mean, you got Polanco, who wasn't signed until February. All of a sudden becomes Mr. October. Mitch Garver the other day has a pinch hit triple of all things. And Seattle is a fun team. They've had the year with Cal Raleigh.
Yeah.
So they feel like a team of destiny. But the Mariners-Dodgers, Dodgers Toronto would be good from the Canadian American showdown.
Sure.
But for like TV ratings, I know it'd be on the West Coast.
Mhm.
I think that would be a good matchup, and that's kind of where we're
Could see it going
we're headed.
7.
I just hope there's no sweeps. But man, I don't think Toronto comes back. I think
Yeah.
maybe the Brewers get 1, maybe 2 games.
You did say Dodgers in 5.
I'd be shocked.
I did
if
say
the-
Dodgers in 5. I said Mariners in 6.
I'd be shocked if the Brewers going to get 1 or 2 games, just based off of how they were playing heading into the series. And I think that the pitching in total for the Brewers. Minus yesterday, they gave up 5 runs, and then the offense never helped them, and then they kind of turned the faucet on in the late innings, and Muncy had that absolute awesome home run. I'd be shocked if the Brewers get swept. I think Seattle, like we talked about heading into the playoffs, like they are the team of destiny. They
You
are
could
the
feel the
magical
balloon
team.
deflate
Yeah,
during game
they-
2
they
on their
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
They also are like Seattle with the story of like they just haven't had a lot of franchise success as of late, and you have a pretty rabid fan base who is just waiting and wanting and yearning to have a winner, yearning to go to a World
Basketball
Series.
team was
And it's
hijacked.
actually-
Yeah.
It's not David versus Goliath, but it is a beautiful story between like the Mariners, where it's this kind of team that I don't want to say they're irrelevant, but they definitely don't get paid attention to as much as
Yeah,
The
they got
LA
more
Dodgers.
attention this year because of Cal Raleigh.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I know what you're saying. We haven't probably paid as much attention nationally to the Mariners since 2001,
Mhm.
the time in the Kingdom, or when Felix Hernandez was dealing. I don't think so. They haven't been to the LCS since 01. I don't think they've ever won 3 games in the LCS.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
2
they-
in 2000, 2 in 95, and then 1 in 01.
Yeah, so they play tonight.
They haven't been in a lot
They
of
play
World-
tonight
yeah.
back in Seattle. That atmosphere will be insane.
You'd remember if you were my age. Trust me.
no,
They
I'm
just haven't been there a
no,
lot.
No. I think I'm pretty good, not with baseball, but with like basketball and football, and telling you like what teams were in what playoff situations. I just always shake my head at both of you when you're able to tell me how many games the Seattle Mariners won in the 2001 CS.
Why do you think we work here instead of in a cubicle?
No, I
Well,
know,
There's a
but
certain
that's still-
demographic of
If you
people that
know,
are
you
destined
know.
to live.
You know,
or work this.
one thing about starting pitching, and baseball's gone through a run of once you get to the 3rd time through the order, you are out. I mean, some organizations value relievers more than they value starters. Is what great shutdown starting pitching can do. Like you look at
Sure.
the crowd. So that's a great crowd in
Mhm.
Milwaukee. Okay, I said something nice about Milwaukee. That's a great crowd. For 2 straight nights, Blake Snell last night, or 2 nights ago, and then Yamamoto last night, they completely shut that crowd down. It was silent in there.
He gives up
There's
a home
nothing
run on
more
the first pitch.
demoralizing. There's nothing more demoralizing than sitting in a playoff crowd and the opposing starting pitcher is shoving
Yeah.
because there's nothing you can do, and your team looks helpless at the plate.
And
Sure.
you
And that's
know
what
it.
happened last night. And then it was nice to see in the background of the 9th inning, all the Milwaukee fans that were streaming to the exits. That was perfect. That was perfect. If you dislike the Brewers, yesterday was Christmas for you. So good luck in LA.
Isn't that the beautiful thing about sports sometimes, when you just mentioned about when the starting pitcher is shoving, just in all sports in general, if your team is just struggling and they're at home,
You
it-
know,
well,
You're
I'm
like,
not going to hop out into the field
we're not going to
and grab a bat and get a hit off of Yamamoto. If my team can't establish the run, I'm not hopping onto the field and hitting the A gap, right? It's just one of those things where it's like you're sitting there and you know that literally nobody in the stadium can do anything about what's going on in front of you, and you just have to sit there and take it. And as a person who hates the Brewers, it's beautiful to watch.
Yeah. That meme, it's going to be like right away. Once they lose to
Oh,
the
God.
Dodgers, the meme of them having the L flag is going to be shared all over the city of Chicago.
I love it when
It's
going
going to be beautiful. Oh, it's going to be beautiful.
When playoff teams hate on playoff teams, they're like, we didn't win the World Series either, so it doesn't really matter.
Neither did you.
Yeah, I
Well-
love it at the end of the year. Everybody's allowed to talk crap to everybody except for one team. Only one team is exempt from the cross-talk, crap talk, which is beautiful.
Well, I think so. The Cubs really can't talk crap about what happened against the Brewers. We got it to Milwaukee, got it to a game 5. I'm just more focused on the fact that they are obsessed with the Cubs, so they pulled out the L flag in their team picture. I will tell you who the Blue Jays should be upset at.
Who?
The New York Yankees.
Why is that?
So Toronto played with an edge in that series because it was the Yankees.
Yeah.
And they went all in. I mean, there was a lot of emotion in that series, and they looked in their 2 games at
Mhm.
home. Now, the Mariners had a little bit to do with it,
Sure.
but the Yankees, that series, And Toronto, this is unfamiliar territory of late for Toronto.
Sure.
They got so fired up for the Yankee series
They forgot
that
you have
I
to keep
think
going.
because look at, they had a little bit of a layoff, right?
Well,
They had a layoff before. Seattle was coming straight from playing 15 innings on Friday to coming to Toronto on Sunday and Monday and beating the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays had some time after that emotional series to come back home. They were playing at home. So the Yankees, that series and how like dialed in you were,
sure.
I think has affected the Blue Jays. So maybe they turn it around tonight. They're away from home, but man, I wouldn't. That you're setting up for the ultimate groin kick if you're a Mariners fan. You're up 2-0. You love this team. They're a fun team to watch. They feel like a team of destiny.
Denver Nuggets coming back in.
If they don't make the World Series, I'm not saying win the World Series. I'm just saying out of this series, when you're up 2-0 on the road and the Blue Jays have had 4 runs and 8 hits, that is a groin kick that I mean, Stibbs would never come back from. Good luck to the Mariners.
I mean, I think he would come back for it.
You're up 2-0 in the LCS to go to the World Series, and now you're coming home.
I think he would have what a younger Gary Sharp in 2003 had. I think he would not talk to anybody for about 6 to 7 days.
That is so damn relatable, by the way, when you first told me that.
His loved ones would probably be slightly worried about him. He'd probably get wellness checks every once in a while, being like, hey, bud, are you hanging in there? But he would eventually come back. He'd eventually be like, go Mariners.
I don't know, man. He is so in. I love it. I love it that he's dialed in as a Mariners fan because he's one of the rare Mariner fans around here. I mean, he's got a terrible NFL team he roots for, but I don't hold that against him because I like him and his dad. But any Mariner fan, because now you're home.
Yeah.
Now you're home. You're up 2-0, and you haven't been there before.
Well,
okay. I mean, we're talking 24 years since you had a season like this. You can't.
Nebraska was ranked number 1 back then.
It's another one of those things of the pressure of when a series becomes you expecting to win as opposed to you having like some fun. You know, when the Cubs were making CSs, I was having a lot of fun, and then like you'd get to game 6 and he'd be like, all right, like now, like let's close it. Let's do it.
All right. Coming up on the show, we got a busy lineup for you here on a Wednesday. Jay Moore's going to stop by fresh off the set in his purple shirt from Big Red Wrap Up. Last night, Lauren Michelson, our good friend, was their guest with Michael Gascan and Jay. So Jay will join us coming up at 8. Andy Greeter from the Pioneer Press will join us to talk PJ Fleck and his love of playing Nebraska. Jay Paterno stops by at 9. Yes, that is the son of Joe Paterno and somebody who would have a final say on the head coach at Penn State because of his current role. He'll join us at 9. John Walker at 9:20. And then Brandon Vogel stops by at 9:40. That's a busy Wednesday lineup for all of you and all of us. It's brought to you by the rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard. Welcome to lying season.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are now through the Monday and Tuesday of coaches that would be considered for the Penn State job that have had to face the media.
Yes.
Some handle it better than others. I thought Rule was good. His quarterback yesterday was pretty passionate about what he said. Manny Diaz was exceptional when he was asked about it. Alex Golish at USF was not very good yesterday.
Okay.
He stumbled and he fumbled, and we left the ball at the 5-yard line before we ever got to the goal line. So it's lying season where coaches are like, I'm not getting some are prepared, some are not. But welcome, not only buyout season, but it is lying season on who's going where. And yesterday followed the path. I've done this so many times.
Yeah.
Yesterday followed the path of how all of this goes. You're kind of new to this.
I am.
Matt Rule is not the favorite. So we got the first day bump of Matt Rule because of the connections. And then day 2 turned around, and all of a sudden Matt Rule, because people now sift through his resume and they're like,
no,
I don't know. Should we look elsewhere? And so day 2 followed the script of coaching searches that are going to last 2+ months.
Okay.
Is all right. Now who's the next guy? Because we can't keep sending out the same guy day after day.
Sure.
And so you look at like the odds. Like the odds now, Matt Rule is not the favorite.
No.
It becomes Joe Brady. But then today will be different because word will come out that Sean McDermott is not happy with Joe Brady in Buffalo because of the usage of James Cook. So all of a sudden, my guy is going to enter the fray.
Elko?
He's way down on the list. Way down on the list.
But he's on the list now.
Well, we got to get him on the list.
Okay.
But it'll be day 3, and it will be on to somebody different
This brings back
today.
memories of 3 years ago.
So
A new
so
guy
That's
every
why you
day.
have. That's why you have the. That's why you have the wheel, because it changes every day. Like Rule can't be the leading candidate day after day after day. Okay,
Sure.
You
Oh,
have
yeah.
to go. Whoa, we're going to hire a cheaper James Franklin. That's what we're going to do. No. Now we're on to the next guy.
Sure.
So
Sure.
Matt Rule day 1, Joe Brady day 2. Who will be the guy that will be the hot candidate in day number 3? Because this is how this works. I've seen it too many times. And now we're on to the next thing.
Well, we already got the rumbling rumor of the coach who definitely won't leave his spot, but like people are saying he might leave his spot with Marcus Freeman. So we can tick that box. Would you be surprised in a week if like for a day we're talking about Dabo?
No,
Yeah.
but Penn State has to play in the NIL world. And even though Dabo dipped his toe in the NIL world,
Sure.
no, his name will come up.
Yeah.
Here's the guy will be today. Here's my
Okay.
prediction on who will be the guy that will get a little hot boardish today. Pat Fitzgerald.
Really? I
Yeah.
don't.
Yep, because you have to have a new coach every day. And so this
See.
might be Pat Fitzgerald's day, because we're like, you know what? I don't know about Joe Brady. Do the Pagulas really have that much influence? Okay, how about Pat Fitzgerald? He's available and can start right away.
Yeah. So the only reason why
I'm not saying that's who it's going to be, but I'm
Yeah.
saying like my day 3 pick of
Sure.
who will be the popular name today
The-
at Penn State will be Pat Fitzgerald.
The only reason why I don't think he'll come up is just because of why he got let go and then the unfortunate history of Penn State and what happened all of those years ago.
Yeah.
And I think if his name even were to be in the like bubble of guys they're even thinking about, I feel like that would be a PR nightmare to like understand what happened not too long ago at Penn State and then what this guy literally lost his job over, which is, some terrible things. So I don't think that'll happen. I'm waiting. I'll be curious to see. So you got me thinking yesterday about the whole, are there going to be schools that decide not to fire their quarter or their coach because all the other jobs that
The
are open?
cycle.
Do you think Wisconsin would be one of those jobs? Because I feel like if Wisconsin were to open up, that would be like a Fitzgerald being mentioned. I don't know if he would get hired, but him being on the hot board right away.
I don't know. Wisconsin's a 4-touchdown underdog to Ohio State. Their pool of who would be attracted to Wisconsin is probably not the same as Florida, Penn State, and UCLA. So I don't know. I still think that's a lot of money for Wisconsin to come up with. But
They'd really like Fickell to win a couple.
If you get embarrassed enough,
yeah,
there is money. You can find
Sure.
money. So welcome to lying season. Okay. You never know what people are saying.
I can't wait until it's like we'll have a weekend where like Kenny Dillingham is for sure going to Penn State. Like it's done. Like there will be a reporter or two that's like, hey, Dillingham to Penn State, good is done. They just got to sign the contracts and write it. And then about 12 hours later, Kenny Dillingham will release like a Twitter video of being like, I'm not leaving and I love this place. And where would you rather be than Tempe, Arizona? And then Penn State will have a lot of egg on its face. I can't wait for that to happen.
So I mentioned this towards the end of our show yesterday.
Okay.
In Rule's involvement in this. And I said, could it be a case where Rule likes where he's at, but he wants to help his alma mater? And Pat Kraft says, hey, Matt, it's not going to be you. And he's like, I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
But I'm going to help you. That Matt Rule suggests Fran Brown for the Penn State job. I'll tell you what, if the Nebraska job opened, I'd look at Fran Brown currently at Syracuse. But he has a Rule connection. So I was thinking, okay, Pat Kraft says, hey, Matt, I know. You know, we know each other. You can't work for me. We can't do this again. Okay, we did it one time.
Sure.
But now the stakes are a little bit different. And you're a cheaper James Franklin. But you love Penn State.
Yeah.
And I love you.
Yeah.
And I trust ball coaches. Give me a guy. And Rule says, Fran Brown is your guy. Your moving cost would not be that much because he's not very far away in upstate New York.
No.
And you hire a guy that last year won 10 games. Now they're struggling a little bit. They're 3-3 this year. But the guy can recruit. And if you don't hire him, somebody in the SEC is going to hire him in the next 2 years. You would have an SEC background that already is familiar with the Northeast that would be coaching at a Big Ten school. All right. Thank you, Pat.
I
got to go to practice. Call me later.
First off,
I'll have you on the podcast.
I'm sorry. Your Pat Kraft, Matt Rule jokes are good. The Fran Brown hire, okay, look, he's coached 19 games in Division I college football. And I think it's less to do with Fran and more to do with why this hiring process is going to be so difficult for Penn State. Because there are, I don't want to say plenty, but there definitely are a couple of guys who in a regular hiring process would look good. Yeah. Like you would be like, that's a good coach. That's a good hire. I see how they could build, they could grow into the job. They could build this program. They could flourish, whatever. But unfortunately for Penn State, there are just so many guys who have worse resumes than the guy that you hired. What are you looking at? My psoriasis? Yes, I have.
Oh, I thought that was a stamp.
No.
You went to a bar and you got a stamp and you haven't showered.
No, okay. I have.
Doesn't that look like a stamp?
Yeah. I have psoriasis. Okay. I'm currently on medication.
I've seen commercials for that. You can take care of that.
I'm on medication for it.
I remember that on WGN.
I thought like you went to the bar like last weekend and you still haven't showered or anything.
No, this is the second time you've thought this is a stamp, by the way, too.
Looks like a good stamp.
It's getting worse.
I think you should tell people that's a stamp.
Why would I tell people that's a stamp? That would look bad on me.
They'll be like,
it would look like I drink, like I get drunk before the day before my job, which would not look good.
No. People go to bars. They don't get drunk at bars. You go to bars and you immediately get drunk.
No, but this type of stamp would look like I'm out. When you get a stamp
one high
on your
noon,
hand,
he's done.
You're out at a fest. You're out drinking. You're out like at a
so you have no control over how much you drink?
No,
I remember those days.
You can't just go and like have one.
I'm talking about stamps. I'm not talking about sitting down at a restaurant.
Just because you have a stamp that size doesn't mean you get drunk at a fest. People are,
to be fair,
have some self-control.
Okay, but wouldn't this be the type of bar, like the stamped bar is the one that you're standing up at, that you're like
a dive bar? And I'd be okay
Sticky
with that.
floors.
If I were to get a stamp on a Tuesday, I'd be going to like a club. I wouldn't be going to a dive bar.
I don't know. Maybe we went to see a DJ.
No, I haven't.
You do work at a radio station.
Well, good luck taking care of that. I thought that was a stamp. It'd be better if it was a stamp.
No, I have to. No,
just tell everybody it's a stamp.
No, it's actually kind of serious. I got to figure it out. What was I saying about the Penn State job? Oh yeah,
I don't know. Now I'm worried about you.
There's so many coaches that don't have as good of a resume that James Franklin has. And I think it's going to be really difficult for them to win.
You know, like we were talking yesterday.
Sure.
I think when you fire James Franklin, you already know that 95% of the people that are going to be fits are not going to have the resume that James Franklin had. But you just have to find a fit, like a fit for you and a fit for what Penn State has, and not a you need a closer, not a builder. That's kind of what you need, because you're walking in like you're not bringing somebody onto the lot and saying, "Hey, look at this Honda Accord.
Sure,
it's got 100,000 miles on it, but we know that it can get to 200,000." You're walking somebody onto the parking lot in State College on the dealer lot. You're like, "Hey, this Ferrari, it just needs to be driven a little bit better, and we're going to give this to you."
But
here's the door, here's the seat. How great does that sound?
But that's the thing, though. There's just how many, like, there's not a lot of closers out there. Like, that's like, there's probably one or two guys that you would consider to be a closer. And those guys probably aren't leaving their jobs. Kenny Dillingham probably isn't leaving Arizona State. Kurt Signetti probably isn't leaving.
I don't know, man.
Indiana.
I don't know. Weird stuff happens.
Everybody has their price.
I'm not saying for those two. I'm not saying for those two, but I got an interesting coaching path that I'll share a little bit later in the show. Because sometimes things are unconventional, and you never expect things to go that way.
Look what happened here.
Signetti is unconventional. Like, you look at his path. He could have stayed with Saban, but he was into his 50s, and he always wanted to be a head coach, and he went to a Division II school. Okay? Yeah. And then he went to James Madison. Then he went to Indiana. I mean, I think there's this has the feel of either a, oh my gosh, hire, or a very unconventional path for a coach to get to a spot where Penn State is, one of the better jobs in all of college football. All right, you have the lineup for the show. Again, Jay Paterno is going to stop by at 9 o'clock this morning. He knows Rule. He knows Penn State. What will he say about the future of Penn State football? And we will talk about the future of Nebraska football, because the line has dropped a point. 8.5 this morning on FanDuel, Nebraska and Minnesota.
I I couldn't believe at first that it was climbing as high as it was climbing, and
Yeah.
and I was, to be honest with you, 9.5. I wouldn't touch that.
Did they ever figure out what the money was that was dropped on Nebraska
No.
that lifted the line like that?
I don't. I
'Cause it
never
went-
saw a
That
report.
doesn't
on it.
happen
It went
often,
5.5 to 9.5 pretty quick. So somebody dropped a nice little coin.
4 points is a lot. I mean, now it's not uncommon. Like you and I both follow the Circus Sports Twitter, and
Yeah.
we see every week. There's about 1 or 2 games a week that probably has a 3 to 4 point swing
Yeah.
on it. It just happens to be typically they're like G5 matchups. They're not P5 matchups. Like they're the ones that like only the sickos are really handicapping and paying attention to. I just think everybody, and I told you this yesterday off air, like I think everybody started putting the matchup in like those computers and projections and analytics and everything. And a lot of them were spitting out Nebraska's going to win by 10, Nebraska's going to win by 9. And so I think I think you had a lot of sharks go up to the counter and bet money. And then I think when Vegas realized like, oh, okay, here's some of our biggest bettors and our biggest winners, they're all on this game. Then that line got flipped to what it got flipped to. I don't know. We'll talk about it later in the show, I'm sure, but it's like the contrasting style of like, it feels like a trap game, but like you look at everything on paper and everything on by the numbers, and it's like Nebraska should handily win.
The gut this morning has some hesitancy.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Because you feel like I don't want to say that Nebraska, for a lack of a better term, Nebraska hasn't like gotten away with murder, but you definitely do feel like, wow, they were down 7 and the game was turning, and those games were both definitely losable, and they both win them. Like,
what do you take if your gut is hesitant? Is there a medication for that? That's what the gut is on a Wednesday ahead of a Friday game.
I have pantomeprazole. That's my acid reflux medicine.
Okay.
That's the only stomach medicine I can think of.
I don't think hesitancy is acid reflux. I don't know if that would go well.
I think that's
like, do you think if I'd take that, it would give me, my gut would have a good sense of what's going to happen Friday night?
I'll tell you this right now. I don't think my acid reflux pills are going to make you more confident. I mean, they certainly haven't done that with me. So I don't. Maybe you can have a couple more tomatoes at night.
You're
or maybe
making me
put a
worry
couple more
about you as a new
limes in the
parent.
tacos. I'm fine, man.
Are you sure? You want a toy? We have some.
I do have to go to the dentist. It's been too long, but other than that, we're batting a pretty good average.
All right, you're the Honda Accord of the show.
I'm not the
durable,
that
durable,
is,
but lots of miles.
147,000 miles,
and you're going to be able to get it to 300,000.
That is
Hondas
not
last
a
forever,
or a nice thing to say to somebody. Hey, try walking up to somebody and be like, "Hey, you look like you got a lot of miles on you."
Your Honda Accord, it's a very reliable vehicle.
Should I make that? Should that be my next pickup line at the bar? Hey, I saw you across the bar, and when I saw you,
judging by what you say out loud, I think you should try anything right now. I mean, you're like Ohtani and Yelich at the plate.
Don't call her a Hummer.
What, I'm
That
just
can backfire.
But sometimes you'll hit it through the right side of the infield for a RBI single.
And then, she'll tell me it's not you. It's me after you drop $160 on a sushi dinner.
Oh,
wow. You're still bitter about that.
Burger and fries,
I
man.
am a little.
What was her name?
$12. I don't want to say.
What was her
on
name?
the air.
What was
I
her
don't
name?
want to say her name on the air.
Why? You've already said enough.
Trixie?
You dropped 160 and then she bolted?
Lexus?
Yeah.
I know why you're pissed.
I know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucked. And that was one night. That didn't even account for the Creighton game that we went to. That didn't account for Lisa's Radio Cafe.
Wow.
We went to Stokes. We went to
You can't be doing my man that way. Come on.
Give him something.
Was it the
Come on, Jennifer.
Halloween Thai or something like that? Or we got Thai food a bunch. I took her to cheeseburgers. I took her to what's that Brickleberry place?
Damn.
With the ice cream.
Wow.
I know.
Let it out.
Went
Let
to
it
Beer
out.
Cave.
This is a safe place.
There was a lot of
You seen her since?
College World Series. Saw her at a tent.
And?
She walked through.
Who
I
was
walked
pitching
out.
it?
See ya.
Oh, it'll be back in that day.
No.
All right, 37 past the hour. Jay Moore, Andy Greeter, Jay Paterno, John Walker, Brandon Vogel, all to join the show on a hump day as the season is flying by on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back into Hump Day in the middle of October. The season is flying by. They say you're having time. What goes fast when you're having fun?
Time flies by when you're having fun.
Yes. So I think we're having fun. The season's halfway over. I was for high school football this week.
Makes me sad.
Was on a regular weekly call, and like there's only 2 weeks of the regular season of high school football left.
Damn.
Like we're halfway through the college football season.
Hasn't even gotten cold yet.
What are we coming up on? Week 7 in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like it is flying by. So enjoy it while it's here because we're gonna get back to the summer where it'll be much warmer, thankfully. And
warm
we
tomorrow.
will be like, oh man, where'd the season go? So embrace every single moment. And don't forget that we are in the middle of a run of 7 straight weeks of football every single day. And if you're down in the dumps, just watch a night of Fun Belt. People are like the Maction on Tuesdays. I think the Fun Belt is giving Maction a run on Tuesday nights. But I was
Good call.
looking,
It's my
I was looking at what you could be watching.
Sure.
While you're doing Big Red Overreaction on Friday.
Ooh.
So you got Louisville and Miami. They kick at 6.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see. I
We'll warm
mean,
up.
it is in Miami. You get to watch Carson Beck play. Then you have Nebraska and Minnesota play at 7.
Mhm.
If you like to be a little sicko, San Jose State, Utah State play.
Hell yes.
But also, while you're still on the air, do you know what you'll be watching?
UNC Cal.
Yes. The Friday night slate, not bad. Good college football.
I will watch. I've watched too much North Carolina football. I have. Okay. I saw the TCU game.
Yeah.
They were terrible.
Doesn't it
They
make
were
you
slow.
laugh?
No, it doesn't. It actually
That's the problem. You need to laugh.
it upsets me a little bit because I've seen bad football and that's whatever. Like I
have you
grew up
beat.
with bad football. Bad football doesn't bother me anymore. What bothers me is non-competitive football. When it's not just bad. You're just not. You don't even deserve to be on the same field as the other team. That's what North
Try
Carolina's
covering
playing.
both sober.
They're just non-competitive with everybody they step on the field.
Well, you get to watch him on the road in Berkeley and all the discussion about Belichick.
I want
And you
to
get to see the most overpaid GM in all of college football, Mike Lombardi.
Yeah.
Makes $1.5 million. $1.5 million to be the GM. And I don't know what the background is to say that would be a wise move in college football to hire Mike Lombardi.
Mike Lombardi has, I don't want to be too mean or anything like that, but it's not like he's had
Okay.
an overwhelming amount of success in his NFL career. I mean, he's had quite the exact opposite. So I never understood. I mean, the guy just keeps getting paid an incredible amount of money to do not such a great job.
What are
which
we
is
doing
wild.
wrong? We need to.
I know we
figure
need
that
to
out.
we need to be more like Mike Lombardi.
How about Belichick might be so disconnected? Did you hear the story on game day when they were, and instead of being a journalist, we were a friend. And Saban's got a long relationship with Belichick. So he kind of laid it out, but everybody was defending Belichick. You hear the story that while Herb Street was talking, Belichick was calling him?
Yes, I got sent.
So do you think it was Belichick, did he expect Herb Street on air to pick it up? Or he is just so oblivious that he didn't realize that Herb Street is on the air on game day?
I think he's completely oblivious. I think he just
talk about Peter.
I look at also the part of North Carolina, like Colorado has been able to squeeze the Dion stuff. Okay,
Sure.
like ESPN's got to be let down because they have the ACC, they have North Carolina, they have a previous relationship with Belichick. They're like, okay, it's going to be kind of fun. We'll be able to squeeze a lot of attention out of it. And then Belichick basically put up a stop sign, and they're not very good. And ESPN has abandoned North Carolina. So all of that publicity that North Carolina was going to get, what it last one night, when they got blown out by TCU and ESPN treated it like the Super Bowl, ESPN was like, we got to make a business decision here. We're out.
Well,
and they haven't been back.
Well, it was a tire fire.
We don't have the fans.
Thank goodness Dion won Saturday.
It was a tire fire leading up to it. I mean, with the whole PR nightmare that was all before that, and then it was incredible. So rethinking about that game, that TCU North Carolina game, how they were presenting it. I'll never forget when the sideline reporter was, I think it might have been Thamel, was on the sideline.
Yeah.
And he had the microphone. He goes, "There's a lot of NFL scouts here tonight. They're not really here for North Carolina's players. They're more here for TCU's players." And I was like,
yeah, they crapped the bed last Saturday.
I was like, oh, I haven't. You don't really hear that a whole
No.
lot before, And then I think they were kind of expecting it to be a blowout, which is why they were so shocked and excited when they scored on the first drive of the game.
Oh.
And then Colin Cowherd tweeted out, "Oh my God, North Carolina is going to be a wagon. Look at Bill Belichick's going to lead them national title." Oops.
Speaking of leading to the national title, so we're halfway through the season, and here's the thing: like Nebraska's 5-1 again. They have remember in 16 they were 7-0. I'm enjoying the 5-1 start more than I enjoyed the 7-0 season.
Why is that?
Just the 7-0 because of who the head coach is, and I could just feel that the bottom was going to fall out.
Sure.
Now it would have been nice to go to Wisconsin and win, and then the following week just was a beat down that was a belt to the ass. But I am enjoying the 5-1 start more than the 16 season.
Just because you have more optimism in how they've won these games?
Well, I can see an identity.
Yeah.
They're winning 1-score games. Now, don't get me wrong. There were parts of the 16 season leading up to the game in Madison, and they could have won that game, and they would have been 8-0. That were like, I don't know. I think a lot of it had to do with who the head coach was, because
Sure.
I didn't believe in Mike Riley. Like, this was sustainable. I think what Nebraska has started this year, I think is more sustainable. So for me, I've enjoyed the 5-1 more than I enjoyed the 7-0. I guess I should do comparison
because they're
I
building
enjoyed the
something.
6-0 start in 2016.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get into this. I'm sure Jay Moore and Brandon Vogel have a comment about the turn of one possession games. So what the previous 45 one possession games, Nebraska was 10-35. We're not really referencing the Frost run of bad one possession games. I mean, this team's 2-1. So there's, I don't know. There's just, I think I can see 26. I really couldn't see 17
So that's,
when they were playing in 2016 is probably the best way to describe why I'm enjoying this start more than I enjoyed a start where Nebraska didn't lose until week 8.
What I always thought is like when, and this is more so for the NFL, but when you're contemplating whether or not you should keep a coach, my sentence has always been, do you see them holding the Lombardi trophy? Like, can you close your eyes and like, can you actually see them up there, like holding it up and like, you wouldn't laugh. I don't know if you could say, oh, I could see Matt Rule holding up the national championship trophy.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, no. And I'm not saying you're saying that.
Gotcha.
But what I'm saying is that I think you could more likely see him like getting to a Big Ten championship game or winning a Big Ten championship game or like going to the college football playoff as opposed to in the Riley era. And granted, I was there. What it sounds like you just couldn't see that. You couldn't see the future. You couldn't see that vision without chuckling a little bit.
But with that said, the gut is still hesitant about Friday night. Josh Pate is not hesitant. Did you see his bracket?
11th against A&M, which by the way, we got to stop playing A&M and everything.
So we got fired up for basketball in the NCAA tournament. Can you imagine the vitriol if that happened? So Josh Pate did his bracket. He's got Texas A&M as a 6 seed. Nebraska as an 11 seed. ESPN's got 6 SEC teams in the playoff this week, by the way. Well, a little bit of the Big Ten is.
Well,
and the ACC and the Big 12 are going to be light in the shorts. Of the years that the Big 12 or the Big 10 has kind of not like added a 5th team.
Sure.
Like this could be the year where you could make a case the SEC will probably get. But with that, I mean, if Nebraska runs the table, they're in the conversation. There would be so much vitriol if that actually occurred to have Texas A&M and Nebraska playing in a college football playoff game. The first time you're in a college football playoff game, you have to go to Kyle Field and you have to face the Trev Alberts Colts.
I mean,
Mike Elko might already be at Penn State by then. But I was like, when I saw that last night, I was like, Josh,
come on.
Okay, that's kind of some low-hanging fruit.
Well, does he know? Do you think he knows?
I think he knows of Trev Alberts. I don't think he knows of
the basketball.
Everybody that does bracketology or projections always has Texas A&M and Nebraska now in the last couple of years playing each other.
Well, that would be like the niche, like it's a niche rivalry if that were to happen that not a lot of people would know about, because it would even date back to women's basketball. Because the same year that the men's team played, the women's team played Texas
well, I mean,
A&M.
it'd be like, old Big 12 foes getting back together. But it would be something else.
Incredible.
I don't know if we would be properly able to handle that week here.
No. God, no. I don't think. Do you think we'd be properly able to handle any college football playoff week here?
No, I'm not able to handle that Nebraska's being mentioned for the playoff because I don't think they're a playoff team. I think they could be a playoff team because they just hang around. Like when I think of a playoff team, I don't think of this current team the way that they have played. But I think of them as a team that could benefit because while everybody else is falling off, Nebraska just finds a way to win games.
That it kind of falls in their, I don't want to say falls in their lap.
But they do work.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they're one of the last teams standing, whether they're on one leg or not.
I think more accurately, it would be it broke really right for them and it worked out and they were able to capitalize off of it.
And there's one or two teams a year in the playoff that happens to them. They might not be the best team, but they happen to be, they have a resume and they have a case to be 11 or 12 in a 12-team playoff.
I just think that me personally, I've seen too many holes in the team to think that they are a college football playoff team, like a for sure college football playoff team. But one of the holes that I saw, or I thought was a hole, was the run game. Okay. And last week and the week before, with how Emmett Johnson has played and how he's looked and how he's been fast, I don't feel like it's that big of a hole, right? As much as I did before. So I am maybe holding out a little optimism that the things that we saw in the first 6 weeks of the season, that, okay, maybe the D-line does get a ton better.
Hey, but it's great. I mean, it's to be standing in the middle of October and to actually have this conversation. And I know some people are going to roll their eyes, but others are going to be like, okay, I could see a path. You could even do that in Iowa City.
Sure.
I mean, even with a game less on the ledger with a loss, Iowa still has Oregon.
Well,
and then they have Nebraska. I mean, that would ratchet up the rivalry like none other. It not Keith Duncan. It's not Caleb Tanner smoking a cigar in the Iowa locker room. It would be if that game had meaning. If that had meaning, because it was supposed to have meaning to go to the Indianapolis to win the West. If that would have meaning to see who stays alive in the playoff discussion, that would be the best thing that happened to the rivalry, probably next to last year. And midfield gate and no handshake gate.
Can you imagine?
Which I can't wait to bring up again. We're about 6 weeks away from doing that. All right, we are an hour away from Jay Moore. He had some thoughts on how Nebraska fared against Maryland, what they have to do against big old Drake Lindsey, 6'5", 230 pounds. Back-to-back weeks, Nebraska defensively is going against a big boy. Lindsey's better than I thought he would be.
Yeah, I agree with that. I didn't think Minnesota was going to be that good to begin with because they just didn't have the pieces that they've had. Like, they weren't built the same, and they had a redshirt freshman quarterback. They're throwing the ball 57% of the time. That's top 20 in the country. Their completion percentage is 58.
Yeah. To me, right now, Minnesota's just there.
Yeah, I mean, their best win is against Rutgers, whose best win is against Ohio.
But they have a head coach who loves playing against Nebraska.
Yes.
So factor that in when you're doing your analytics, as Nebraska is an 8.5-point favorite. More on that game, plus more on Lion season. Oh, Nittany Lion season.
Oh.
Spelled with a Y.
Nice.
Jay Paterno joins us this morning as well on Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. Oh, great song. Great song, Jimmy. Good call on a Wednesday.
Yeah, it's in my head because The Apprentice was having a meltdown yesterday, so I had to play this to get her to
Hey,
calm down.
we need a little clarification here. Because actually when I hear The Apprentice,
You
I-
think of me?
no.
Yes, yes.
I think of
I was carrying Matt last night around the the kitchen.
I don't know. Maybe I
Okay.
need to be carried.
that would be very, very awkward.
It would
I'm
be.
lonely.
No.
I'd like to
So
be carried.
that's what you call your new daughter.
Yes,
Yeah.
a human.
So I immediately, anything The Apprentice,
Oh, you think
I
of-
think of Donald Trump's
Yeah.
television show, which I watched almost every episode.
No
I
way.
love that show.
It was actually a pretty
I
good
did.
show.
I really loved
I was
that
your
show.
age watching.
Like
Okay,
that
let's
was
talk-
on NBC. That was a must-watch show for me.
Fall of 06? Yeah.
And
I've never
and
seen one episode of The Apprentice. Was like, is it? I always thought it was just kind of like Survivor, but in the business world.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Okay.
basically what it was. And it kind of jumped the shark a little bit. See, before that show started, I didn't know much about now President Trump,
Yeah.
but he would be on Letterman. I watched Letterman religiously.
Okay.
Okay, and so him and Letterman had a great relationship, and periodically Donald Trump would just show up on Letterman.
Yeah.
And he was kind of funny, and he was like a normal person.
Like, hey, all
like
right, I'm
they
watching
had,
tonight.
They had like a really good relationship. So like his, like Letterman make fun of him.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he got the reality show, The Apprentice. What about 20?
It was 06, fall of 06.
Okay, so
which
20
ties into
20
the
years
Husker
ago.
back-to-back road win.
And it lasted. I think it kind of ran its course because then
Sure.
they had like teams and they had celebrities. But I would say probably the first 4 or 5 years, I watched I would watch it live on NBC.
Do you have a favorite episode? Do you have a favorite memory, favorite moment?
Episode
No?
6.
Well, you never know. Did you have a favorite apprentice? Like, was there
Everyone loved
anyone?
Omarosa.
Was there anyone?
Omarosa was probably the one because it was
polarizing.
like a nasty show.
Was there anyone who
Yeah.
actually ended up becoming like a millionaire on that show, or like
Omarosa?
incredibly successful? Or see, I don't know who that is. You say that as if like they're Madonna or they're.
She probably
You know,
became the most
Beyonce.
famous person off that show
Mhm.
because then she was working in the White
Yeah.
House. Did she work for the first?
Administration.
Yeah, the first one for a little bit,
Okay,
and then she was like-
Omarosa, is that her name?
yes.
Yeah. she like
Yeah.
got nasty on the show,
Mhm.
but they got like then it just became like Celebrity Apprentice, and they lost kind of the core of the show.
They
so
lost
whenever
the-
I
So then he
They
decided, you know
also
what, I'll
lost-
run for president.
so whenever I think of The Apprentice, I always think of Donald Trump's show.
I
on
should be
NBC.
fair. Nick Grimm also calls her the minion.
I like The Apprentice way more
Yeah.
than I like the
Mm.
Minion. Yeah, I loved. I was a Survivor kid. Boston Rob, that's a hero of mine growing up. He was awesome.
Kids growing up, so it was inevitable. MTV announced yesterday they
Yeah.
are shuttering all the music channels. So one of the
People thought
greatest
they did.
brands of the early 80s and 90s, MTV is no longer. It is now gone.
That sucks.
So
They still going to keep their news network though, where they
no,
like
No, it's
everything
gone.
everything is gone.
It's-
Wait,
They're-
MTV is just done.
Yeah.
MTV is completely
How-
done.
How
more
am I gonna
TRL.
watch Wild and Out or Ridiculousness?
All of it.
And that's the point.
All of it.
Yeah.
They've
I-
shut it all down.
I have a friend.
Well, wait a minute. They might keep some of the reality. All the music stuff is
Shocker.
shut
Okay.
down. Everything related to MTV music is like
There's a guy who listens to our show who's a friend of mine. His name's Corey.
Hi, Corey.
He watches
Corey.
he watches Ridiculousness 3 hours a day. Okay.
Okay.
He works in corporate
it's
America.
that Chanel
Oh,
West
okay.
Coast.
Glad you said he had a job. So
Yeah,
he's
he-
unemployed, and that's all he watches.
No.
maybe,
He
yeah.
actually has a pretty high ranking
Yeah.
role and a pretty high ranking business here in Omaha.
That's a flex.
And he has his own office and he has ridiculousness on for about 3 hours a day. And he
Okay.
tells us how much he loves it.
Mm.
He's like, I watch it every day. I think it's so funny. He's like, I'll be doing returns. And then all of a sudden I'll just look up and some dude is face planting on like a skateboard park. And I think it's the funniest thing ever.
we had Jackass.
Yeah.
Also on MTV.
Yeah.
So I hope for
Isn't he,
Corey's sake that
isn't
ridiculousness is
he-
okay.
Isn't
Rob Dyrick?
Stevie
Steve-O?
Steve-O is
Who?
coming to Omaha?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
one of our
Doing
things.
what?
I don't know.
He
What
does,
stuff.
he does a stand-up.
Everybody's a stand-up now.
That is true.
It pays well.
6 to 10 right here on 1620 The Zone.
Monday through Friday.
All right, a couple of shout outs here. Again, Jay Moore is going to join us at 8. Jay Paterno will stop by. He's got a thought or two on Penn State and Matt Rule. We will put him under the lie. Is he lying or is he telling the truth?
What if we just start pitching him all the other candidates?
We're going to get some emails here in a little bit. People have everybody's putting their name in because now we're on to day 3. So we're over Rule.
Yeah.
Rule was yesterday's
It
news.
was Matt Rule day
Joe
today.
Brady was yesterday. Today is, I said Pat Fitzgerald. Greg McElroy is already promoting it. So let's come up.
Really?
Yeah, we got about 48 coaches that we have to promote for this job.
Uh-huh.
But on a side note,
Oh, it works.
congratulations. The Omaha Marion girls golf team, second straight state championship in golf. Kyle Peterson, Mr. Baseball, his daughter Lucy. I mean, it's just a family full of great golfers.
Mhm.
Dad can't golf a lick. But Lucy plays golf at Marion, and so they won again. But I was at an event this summer playing golf, and I played with a couple of young ladies from Omaha Marion that I noticed are in the team picture. So congratulations to them. Also, last night, congratulations to Elkhorn North Volleyball. They defeated Norris. So Norris is the defending Class B champion in the state. They'd won 51 in a row. Last night got swept, and Elkhorn North students stormed the court. I've never seen this before in volleyball.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So the students stormed the court. Reagan Roloff, who is headed to Creighton, is one of the best players in the state. She had a big night. Also, shout out one of the really, really special people in all of high school athletics in the state, Sharon Zavala, who is attached to Grand Island Central Catholic. She's a legend.
Mhm.
I noticed they named the floor after her. They had a ceremony last night.
That's awesome.
That's how big volleyball is in the state. And then what is Coach Zavala coach? Maybe 50 years.
My God.
And I mean, in this state, if you have success and she's coached multiple sports, we put your name on the floor if you're a volleyball coach. Like, is this the only state where more volleyball coaches have their names on floors in the state college or in high school?
It's volleyball state.
There are high schools in and I can only really reference Chicago that have like former NBA coaches that coached at the high school, or like NBA players that played on those courts and stuff like that that don't retire the court name. You're just at Simeon Fieldhouse or whatever. That's awesome.
Also, good luck to state softball starts. One of our loyal, and I consider him a friend some days, Iowa JD is one of the top softball umpires in the state of Nebraska. And so we have his crew of umpires that listen to the show on a daily basis. State softball begins, unfortunately, in Hastings today.
Not in Omaha?
Nope. And not in Omaha anymore. So the finals are at Bolin, the home of Nebraska softball, on Monday. The sport, which, I mean, baseball and softball in this state for high school, and then when you're not in season, is great. And we get more attention, and it is big time. And softball coaches, they wanted to redo their tournament so they get it on a big stage. They can have the games, the championship games on TV. It was great over at Tal Anderson. I'm telling you, the Gretna Miller North final last year, the place was packed. It was a great environment. Lincoln is upset at Omaha because of events they have here. And so they pushed to get it at Bolin. So the state finals are at Bolin, but they still play out in Hastings, which is not up to standards of what those teams deserve. But so good luck to everybody in state softball. It looks like the weather's going to be okay. Usually it's like really, really cold.
We've had none.
Yeah. So the weather. So good luck to all of them. One other local note. Have you seen this? So this Ken, one of our listeners, DM'd me last night, and it's a good DM.
Okay.
It's not, hey, Lutovsky, you suck. I still don't know why he did not screenshot that and put that out.
I neither do I. I thought it was a great idea.
If you're being tampered with, or you have people sliding to your DMs without pics, let's screenshot them. Let's put them out there. Or maybe Lutovsky is doing this person a favor because they would have been, the GBR online army would have just destroyed this guy.
They probably would have found out who they were, where they worked, everything like that. Yeah, so we probably did him a massive favor.
But our listener shared this. He goes, have you seen this? And I was like, that Canelo and Crawford 2 could be in the works for Cinco de Mayo in 2026.
No, I'm okay.
He said it's a rumor that in the boxing world is being talked about. Didn't Canelo have to have surgery on his hand?
Yes. And I don't know. I've been a little disappointed with what has happened with boxing after the Canelo Crawford fight, because I thought they were going to be able to take that big event and roll in some momentum into it, right? And have it lead to another event and maybe I was a little disappointed in the buildup of the Canelo Crawford fight and the fact that they didn't really do anything to build up any other boxers that were a part of that event, which is kind of the sign of Dana White being more of an MMA promoter than him being a boxing promoter. I would not want a Canelo Crawford 2. That fight happened. Crawford won very clearly. It was, I don't believe in rematches when the guy clearly won. When the guy it wasn't even a contest. It was very clear who won the fight. I'm not a fan of that. I think that boxing, both those guys are older, ton of respect, absolute legends. They need a new generation. They need a new era. They need to start grassroots, building this up to the point where you have more stars and guys you're
you know what? He was
about.
Dana White was on 60 Minutes. I think the premiere was 60 Minutes this year, and they did a sit down with him, and they asked him about that fight. And it immediately, it was a very brief discussion, and they were immediately back on to MMA.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing too: is Dana White is not the premier promoter in boxing. It's Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn, English guy, most famous for being Anthony Joshua's promoter. Like, that is the boxing promoter. And now that Dana has done this, there's now kind of a beef between them.
Yeah.
And you need Eddie Hearn and Dana White working together and trying to build up the sport together, as opposed to now you have the two biggest giants and they're both trying to go at one another. And now Eddie Hearn is flirting about going into MMA promoting to get back at Dana. So now you just have these egos clashing at each other and not really building up the sport like you would hope an event like that could have done.
Man.
Boxing will always trip over itself.
Yeah,
they will
we get Jake Paul, though. Boxing is fun. We got Bud and Jake Paul.
It's a joke.
Yeah. Andrew says, Real World started the downfall of MTV, but Jersey Shore and Teen Mom killed MTV.
Liked early Real World.
Jersey Shore did not kill MTV.
I mean, it did start.
What? I thought Jersey Shore was incredibly popular and did the opposite. I don't know. I didn't watch any of those shows. The only reality TV show I watched growing up was Cake Boss. That was awesome.
It was not on MTV.
No, I know. I don't even know what was on.
Like cake as in what you eat?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just making sure. I don't know. I didn't
With
watch
Buddy
this.
At Sal's Cafe in Hoboken, New Jersey.
Hey, and I'm probably asking two people who have no idea what I'm talking about here. What happened to Teen Mom? Because she's from Council Bluffs.
What?
Yeah. For a second, I was like, wait a
Farrah
minute.
Abraham was from Council Bluffs.
I don't know. I don't know what happened to Teen Mom. Just like what happened to Honey Boo Boo?
Oh, she's still around.
Yeah.
Is she?
She's running for governor.
She is. She's young. I hope she's still kicking. She's a very young lady.
That actually would not surprise me if she was running for governor. She's from Arkansas, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Mike Huckabee's daughter, I think, is the governor of Arkansas.
Yes.
Yeah, I think she was in the news recently. She's had some health issues. Shock.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt.
Well, you can say,
yeah, I can't say yeah.
So you know what? As you get older, you have some health issues, but does it surprise anybody?
No, it doesn't, because the whole point of that show was you had an incredibly unhealthy baby, which was like the first meme, and now she's, oh, shocker, they never got her to be healthy. She has health issues now.
That'll happen.
Yeah, it will.
Adam says, and this is why I'm disappointed in both of you, because this is something you guys should know, like, immediately. She started doing X-rated videos.
Oh.
Who?
Teen Mom.
Yeah.
Teen Mom. So the people in Council Bluffs will tell you
she did it before.
She
now
isn't
she's
all
doing it for
ours
money.
because she was actually born in Omaha, but then she grew up in Council Bluffs.
Yeah, I'm not looking for. I can't comment
Like,
on the work that she's currently doing.
I'm going to Kurt Signetti her. Hold on one moment here.
What? You're going to
Google
her.
Oh,
I'm going to Google her.
I thought you were going to like join her team and build her up into a national power and have everybody talking about her when they didn't think they would be.
No.
I thought you were going to empower
next
somebody.
mayor.
Thought you were going to grab some people for her to work with in the transfer portal.
Okay, she appears to be like.
What? I hope you're not on the work Wi-Fi.
It's
after
Google.
We found out
he's not clicking the link.
She made $1.5 million for her tape.
Yeah.
Damn.
Joke's on us.
No, joke is on us. Like, you guys know the Corinna Koff. Do you know who that is?
No.
TikTok, social media woman.
No, I'm not going there.
Okay. But she's done that too. Joke's on us.
Yeah. 70 minutes to make $1.5 million. Damn, where do I sign up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Take half that.
Jay Moore is coming up
Donate
here in
to
a.
1890.
That's like Ronaldo numbers. You ever seen those videos?
I don't think they're like there's some unfortunate stuff. I don't know this is all attached to her. But
I mean, you guys were looking for new donors, and
Jeez.
hey,
she
you're
hasn't-
going to say no?
she hasn't been in the news for a while, it appears here.
Yeah, all of those
Yeah.
people haven't been in the news
Yeah.
for a while.
She's a celebrity family. Her mom's popular.
I feel like we haven't had a Kardashian piece of news in a while.
Give it time.
Yeah.
It's October.
A couple of emails here before the break in the Equitable Bank inbox where you can email us, Gary or Matt at 1620thezone.com. Equitable Bank. I think Doug will.
Hi, Doug.
What will Doug be doing? What will be happening Friday night?
Oh,
You got Creighton, Iowa State basketball, and you have a little football game going on at the same time. Same time.
This is a dilemma. I'm surprised
What
you
do you
waited till
mean?
Wednesday to bring
It's
it up.
an exhibition game.
No.
Don't tell them
it's
that.
Iowa State. It's the
It's an
clones.
exhibition.
It's TJ.
TJ.
It's TJ. It's Mac.
No, but
It's Lipsy.
okay.
Dicks.
I understand the history of Mac
It's
and Iowa
Ames
State
versus Council Bluffs.
and
CAL.
TJ and Greg and everything.
I don't think Lipsy's playing because Lipsy is injured, I think, at the beginning of the year for Iowa State. I can't believe he's still in college.
It's an exhibition game. Remember when Nebraska
No,
beat
no.
Colorado in an exhibition game?
Drago Creed was an
Freaking out?
exhibition.
Like that
Don't
team
just
was
say,
going to
hey,
make the tournament.
Hey. Don't just say it's an exhibition. That's what people were saying last year about Creighton Purdue. Creighton Purdue treated that game like it was a regular season game. It was a great game. Now, could be a little bit different because they do play a month later. But what's Doug going to do? Are they going to show? Do you think they will show during timeouts the Nebraska-Minnesota game on the video board?
Or will they just have it on during the game?
No,
Hey,
they will not.
Hey,
They will.
hey,
Of course,
hey,
they won't.
My friends who work with me on Thursday nights that are on the crew that run all of the video down at the Chai, the Nebraska football fans, do it. Please do it.
They're not going to put.
it
They're
up there, put it up
absolutely
there, put it
not
up
going
there.
to do that.
Why? It would look at how many people
Do you
would
know
be happy.
how bad that would be?
I had to
look?
go to an NCAA basketball game in that building 2 years ago, and during one of the timeouts, they put the Creighton Akron game on.
People were happy.
You do know that you know more than I do that the people there at the athletic department are fighting against the whole J skirt thing, and they just want to keep it about the Jays.
What if
They're
Mac
not gonna
wants
put-
to watch ball?
They're not going
while
to put
coaching?
another college's sporting
No.
event up on their jumbotron, regardless of what state they're.
Fun hater.
I'm not a fun hater.
You got to
It
take
would-
care of your fan base.
you
Give your
saw-
fan base what they want.
You saw what Nebraska
gonna be-
basketball
gonna be
did
great.
last year.
It's going to be a great game. Saturday's going to be a great game in Lincoln. Basketball's back 19 days from now. Cody writes in. Good morning, fellas.
I'm excited for basketball. It's going to be fun.
Go basketball.
I'm trying to
By
earn
the way,
my ball.
it's
knower
Sonny's
card this
in
year.
Exarban Village tonight. Meet the Mavs, 6 o'clock. Be there. I'll be there. I'm the MC. I'll be
Nice.
telling
Oh.
jokes. 6 o'clock tonight. The weather's going to be great. Have some drinks. You get to see Isaac Anakane.
I-
Both men and women. Omaha men and women will be introduced. It's Meet the Mavs. It's also a very special day for the Omaha men's basketball program that I cannot share.
Okay.
It's like a really, really special day
And
for all of us.
Will they announce it?
I will put it out on social media.
Okay.
It's a special day for Omaha men's basketball. Let's just put it that way.
That
will be announced a little bit later.
I realize that this is going to be a really good year to earn my Gary Sharp You're a Ball Knower card in basketball.
Yeah.
I've already got it in football. It's hung up in my room. You gave it to me.
Thank you.
Said it. You
Love
gave it
you
to me.
long time.
I have it.
Yeah.
This is going to be a great year for me to earn it because after I won the coin toss, we're going to have the Bulls, the Blue Jays, and the Huskers that I'm going to have to watch all religiously this season. So I will watch the most amount of basketball I have ever watched.
That's good.
My
You
entire life.
should. You should.
No, I'm excited for it.
I
love
like
ball.
basketball.
I
I'm
love
surprised
You should watch the year
Basketball's my
where,
second sport.
where the Big Ten will win a national championship this year. I'm all in on Purdue. I think Purdue is the team this year. And they have Oscar Mayer at guard. But it should be Oscar Mayer.
Just call him Oscar Mayer.
The Israelis would get upset. He's an Israeli guard, freshman guard. This could be the year the Big Ten is back. Craig writes in. Put it on the board. I predict it will be Lane Kiffin as the next head coach
No.
at Penn State. The money at Penn State is too great.
No.
Now, Buckeye Ross brings up something that is something to keep in the hopper.
Okay.
So as Cincinnati, they play the Steelers tomorrow night, and things are going south for the Bengals. After Zach Taylor, and I think Zach Taylor's out, Ross brings this up. Zach Taylor gets fired. He would be a free agent.
I think
Would he go back to college? Well, not back. I mean, would he go to college?
I
guess he was on the Texas A&M staff when his father-in-law was the head coach.
I think he should interview for the Tennessee Titans job if he gets fired.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Oh,
I wouldn't touch
no.
Tennessee.
Why
The
wouldn't
NFL
you?
should be very worried about Tennessee.
Why?
That ownership is god awful. Okay, there
Sure.
is so much
Always
turnover
has
that
been.
is going on, and you're going to move into a new stadium,
That is
and
true.
they want a Super Bowl. If I'm the NFL, I'm worried about what's going on in Tennessee. Brian Callahan out.
Karma.
His brother, his dad, Bill, is out.
I remember him.
So they go 4-19. And did you see who the Titans play this weekend?
No. Who they play?
Who do you think, when you fire your head coach, who do you think the Tennessee Titans are playing this weekend?
Probably the Kansas City Chiefs.
The New England Patriots.
Oh God!
Who
oh,
you
that
fired
sucks.
Mike Vrabel to get Brian Callahan, and Tennessee hosts New England.
Take
this
the
weekend.
pass to cover.
Yeah.
The reason why I say though with Zach Taylor in Tennessee, and this is why, and I understand you're right. The ownership is terrible, and they should have never
Take
fired
Matt Nagy.
Fired. No, they're not going to take Matt Nagy. That'd be a
Offensive
terrible hire.
visionary.
Yeah.
What do you mean? He's guys.
Why do
let's
you
not
care?
do
It's
this.
the Titans.
Let's not do this. Let's you know all the reasons why.
The Houston
Okay?
Oilers
Matt
were
Nagy
kidnapped.
already-
He's not your problem anymore.
Matt-
he's my like I'm
He's
with
your
it.
problem.
Well, I mean,
He's
Andy Reid calls the plays.
Yeah. Matt Nagy already went to a franchise that had some poor ownership and who consistently made some bad decisions and took over a situation that had the number 2 overall
So he's
quarterback pick
experienced.
in the draft the year before, and he failed. Okay. He had one good year where he rode the coattails of Vic Fangio because that wasn't Matt Nagy being great. That was Vic Fangio being great and that defense being great. He rode those coattails. He absolutely failed when Fangio left. Then he had to go crawling back to Kansas City. It'd be a terrible hire for Tennessee. It might be a
Hope
good
it happens.
hire for Tennessee to go and get Zach Taylor because Zach Taylor has had experience coaching a number 1 overall quarterback, developing a number 1 overall quarterback, getting
Did he
weapons for
develop
the
one?
number overall quarterback, and then leading a team to a Super Bowl.
Isn't this the 4th straight time that the number 1 overall pick being a quarterback, his head coach has been fired in his rookie season?
So why are we still doing this in the NFL where it's like
Firing coaches?
No, why?
Well,
you
you
still,
see,
no.
performance-based business.
This has been. You're absolutely right. A couple times in a row now, where the coach who had the worst team in the NFL and who coached terribly the year before is allowed to keep his job and have the first foundational year of the number 1 overall pick.
Great decision in Chicago.
It was an awful decision in
Great
Chicago.
decision in Chicago.
Caleb is still kind of a rookie because he barely had a first year last year because he wasn't getting coached.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we also probably need to discuss something. Man, Nebraska fans have let down Nebraska so far this season.
In what way?
I'll tell you. Jay Moore, Andy Greeter, who covers Minnesota football. We'll try and figure out how big a game this is for PJ Fleck, not only in 2025, but when he sees red. Also, Jay Paterno will stop by from State College, Pennsylvania. Yes, the Jay Paterno, the son of the late Joe Paterno. And John Walker stops by. We got ball to talk about because it is ball week. It is hoops week.
It is hoops week.
It is hoops week. It is the rankings are out. Ken Palm is out.
2 days of Jays.
What are we down? He did what today is day 15, I think.
Yeah.
Day 15 of the Jays. On the 15th day of Jaysmas.
The Jays gave to me Josh Dick shooting a 3.
And the Husker game on TV.
Raz gave to us. By the way, Hall of Famer. Still can't believe that he wasn't in the Hall of Fame, but Raz going to the Creighton Hall of Fame this week. Also, Brandon Vogel. So loaded lineup with all of you on middle of the week of Minnesota week. Go first. Skiuma.
Is that your Minnesota accent?
No, I have a good Minnesota accent.
I was about to say you went there
I went
for
there.
a year.
I went there. I love the Twin Cities.
Oh, don't you know?
That's
Yes.
more. No.
I have a friend would say
No.
that.
That's more North Dakota.
Really?
Yep. That's more North Dakota.
Oh, North
Yeah.
Dakota.
Yeah.
Shout out, Sam.
Hey, a defenseman, eh?
Hey.
All right, 7:24. It's Gary and Matt with Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. All right, Gary, Matt, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. Ahead of Nebraska, Minnesota, the line has dropped to 8.5. It ballooned at 9.5. Somebody dropped some coin on GBR, and now it has dropped back to 8.5.
Yeah. I think it'll probably close out at 9. I'm curious though about the totals. That's still at 46.5.
Yes.
That's I don't think that's a bad bad total at all. Just because if you're looking at the advanced numbers,
Mhm.
Nebraska's offense has a slight edge against Minnesota's defense. But if you're looking at vanilla numbers, you'd think they have a much bigger edge.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at like EPA, success rate, like all those like really grand, it's bare like they're barely doing better than Minnesota's D. It's really on the other side of the ball. Minnesota's offense is bad. Let's just get this out of the way. They throw the ball way too much. They throw it inefficiently. They have a quarterback back there who's really young and gets flustered pretty easily. They have been down in every single one of their Big Ten games. They've been trailing in every single one of them. They can't run the ball. Their yards per rush is 3. That's 126 out of 136 teams in the country. It's an offense that just, you talk about identity, they just don't have one. At this point, their identity is more so inefficiency than anything.
We'll talk to Andy Greeter. He's going to join us in an hour on what has plagued the Gophers, who are 4-2. I say that Minnesota is just kind of they're just there. They're just there this year. They don't have a super huge identity. A lot of people know Team Mom in our listening audience. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. KDH 68760. We played TJ in sports in high school. So AL and TJ are the two public high schools over in Council Bluffs.
Oh, okay.
We played them right when that show was airing with Farrah. Every dude we asked said the story about her baby daddy is very real and that she was a psycho. Okay.
Oh,
Greg, thank you. Lets me know what kind of a video she was doing. And that her mom works at the airport. When I Googled them, her mom came up. Yeah.
We don't have those shows anymore, do we? We more so have the like.
Yes, they are. They're on the internet, but in this state,
gone.
You're blocked.
No,
Yes.
You got to do an age
I'm
verification.
talking about Teen Mom,
private mode.
I don't know.
and
I never watched.
Honey Boo Boo.
I didn't watch it. I didn't.
Good Morning Governor.
I didn't watch it. I didn't know that she was from Council Bluffs until it came up one time on the show, and people were like, I know her. It's just like when the lady jumped into the tiger cage. Okay. Next thing you know, there's a lot of people in our listening audience that dated her. Okay. It happens.
I just
Small
think that
world. Great audience.
it seems like we've taken all of those really entertaining reality shows with crazy people and we've replaced them with home improvement shows and Chip and Joanna Gaines. And
Well, they're out there. You can find them. What people are not finding is Nebraska football fans. Let's have a discussion.
Nice
okay.
Okay. So the season, I've already said it. I'm enjoying a 5-1 start more than a 6-0 start in 16. Okay.
Yes, because you see the future.
Yeah, this is more enjoyable because I was waiting for the bottom to fall, and the bottom may fall out of this season because there is part of the Nebraska football season currently that they're on the high. They're playing a high wire act. I mean, for God's sake,
They are.
I mean, Nebraska is 0-6 in coin tosses. They've lost every coin toss.
Is that true?
Yes,
That's a great stat.
and
That's a good
here,
one.
so that's why my gut is very hesitant about Friday night. Even after everything you just gave me.
No, I know.
Because Nebraska football right now is kind of playing a high wire act. So they're 0-6 in coin tosses. Now that doesn't have anything to do with on the field, but it's kind of unique. But in the middle 8, the last 4 of the first and the first 4 of the second, the last 4 games they've been outscored 31-7.
Yeah.
But in that stretch, they're 3-1. So they're up on the high wire, and they're like the Rodriguez family, or what's the family that they walk across canyons? What are their names?
There's one guy who walks across.
I know it's like a family, like the Willindas.
Right.
Is it the Willindas?
No,
it might be that.
They're not the Melendez brothers.
No, Willinda.
Tightrope family.
Okay, that's kind of like what I see
They
Nebraska
are
football doing.
Willenda, the Flying Willendas.
That's what. Yeah, the flying Willindas.
Is that what
You
you're
thought
calling
Menendez?
Nebraska football? The Flying Willendas?
Yeah, they're kind of like they're like walking and they're getting closer to the end of the canyon, like they're in the middle of the canyon, but they're on the high wire. Like they look good, they look steady, but like one misstep and boom.
But the Willendases never die. If they're the Flying Willendases, then they make the college football playoff.
They had the one incident.
Did they actually have an incident? Is this Kurt Cobain all over again?
He's dead.
No, I know. Or no,
Yeah.
the Three Doors
I
Down
learned
guy,
about
where
it
I said
on,
I wanted Three
Kurt
Doors
Loder.
Down to perform, and you were like, they can't do it. Continue. I was referencing
Okay.
something.
All right. Hey,
Don't worry.
maybe help Nebraska athletics out, okay?
Strike one.
Why don't you drink a beer?
We
Y'all-
have plenty.
hey,
Get some great
so-
stuff from Cross Stain.
Strain.
Excuse me. I believe that we are in an era where the fans have more power with apathy, and because even though you're getting a big check from the Big Ten, they need us, okay? They need us. We have some power. We need to take back the power as the fan. But we're not doing our duty by drinking beer in the stadium. You want to guess how, I don't want to say frugal, how off the projections of Nebraska beer sales are to what they have been through the first 4 football games.
So are we talking in terms of beers sold or money made?
Okay. So Troy Dannon thought that Nebraska could reach 3 to 4 million per game with alcohol sales. The concession sales are up this year.
Okay.
So the concession sales are really up, and that includes the beer and the seltzer and the food. So concession sales, they're at 5.8 million
Okay.
through the first 4 games. Beer sales. Why are we not drinking in Memorial Stadium?
I would say it's probably what, a beer's $10, and they've had how many home games now? 4?
Yeah.
4 home games. And so I would say it's 800,000.
Okay. So 800,000 for 4 games,
$800,000 over 4 games.
but yet Dannon estimated 3 to 4 million.
Yes.
So you're just saying $800,000.
Through 4 games.
Okay.
Yes. I'm saying that 20,000 beers were sold a game.
Okay. So these are figures from Nebraska Public Media.
Okay.
Through 4 games, Nebraska has only sold alcohol sales 2 million.
Okay.
They were supposed to be much higher. So basically $500,000 per game in beer sales. Again, the concession sales are way up. But here is the other part of the discussion, because, Bill Moose wants me to give you some numbers. Now that we can drink beer in Memorial Stadium, I don't really notice people drinking beer.
No, football isn't really like the get drunk sport, in my opinion, where people are just pounding them. I
Okay.
think it's
But
more
it's-
so of
it's
a
way-
grab
we
and
had
sip.
different
But according to
Okay.
these numbers on Nebraska Public Media, it
My
is way lower than projected. Only 2 million through the first 4 games. Dannon was thinking maybe 3 million. I mean, maybe Dannon's not one of us. He's a guy from Marshalltown. So maybe in Iowa they drink more beer because you live in Iowa. In Nebraska, we love our life a little bit
That's
more,
a
and
nice
we want
backhand.
to, we like to sip.
You drink them
Okay.
before the game,
Hey,
then have one. and
yeah,
enjoy it.
Exactly.
We like to nurse our beer.
It's hard to go to the
Okay.
bathroom.
We like
And
to
you know
cradle
what?
it.
Also, the football's been better. So you haven't had a drink to forget in Memorial Stadium.
Also
Sure.
true. You want to
Okay.
remember the
And so
90s.
you're going to have a celebratory beer, but you're not going to stay in the stadium. You're going to go to the parking lot.
Mhm.
So fan behavior, the number
Uh-huh.
of people cited for alcohol violations in and around the stadium has increased from an average of more than 1 to 4.
Okay.
UNLPD notes that they've increased police presence by 25% on game days. Ejections and people denied entry are also up this season, with an average of more than 12 through 4 games last year to 13.5 so far in 2025.
Okay.
UNLPD says fans can be denied entry or ejected for reasons other than alcohol. As far as alcohol-related incidents, because, there were people on the border regions who are like, that binge drinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pathway to sin.
Like, if you guys promise not to binge drink, we're going to approve this.
That's not going to happen.
UNLPD is reporting a decrease in alcohol-related calls.
Okay.
There was an average of 13 such calls in the first 4 home games last year compared to 12 this year. So, I don't know, man. You got Northwestern, you got USC, and you got Iowa coming up. I think we need to get a little rowdy. Okay? Because
I smell what you're cooking.
Are you pulling a Matthew McConaughey here and saying that we need to up those numbers? Those are rookie numbers in the bracket.
the numbers are really low. So only 2 million in alcohol sales through 4 games.
Yeah,
No
I
more-
thought it was going to be the reason I guess so low is I thought it would be astronomically low with the tone of voice that you had. I didn't think. I mean, 2 million isn't.
So you want more
Fair.
veteran stadium for the last 3
Well,
games.
so okay. So, there's
vibing
the things of a 100-year-old stadium.
yeah.
They've worked on the flow. I did notice, like I watched the majority of the Houston Christian game from the stands.
Okay.
And then I was out for the Michigan game out in the stands. The flow they've worked on the flow when it comes to alcohol. But again, I didn't see like a lot of people just pounding beers. Like,
Are you disappointed?
No, you know what? Because like at PBA,
Wow.
I don't really notice people just hammering beers.
Oh.
Like just double fisting, walking through the concourse. I don't know. It's just something to have. But it's not like I haven't gone to a football or basketball game and said, or to a baseball game and said, man, this is a necessity. I must go get one. But that's a little bit lower than I would have thought. Only 2 million through 4 games when Dana was estimating that revenue could be 3 to 4 per game.
See, I see it at the basketball game, but that's because I'm the guy who's double fisting at the basketball game. And so when you're a double fister, you're more likely to see out more double fisters, like because you want to make yourself feel better.
You got a head nod.
Well, yeah, a little bit because it's like
Are you saying that double fisters are attracted to double fisters?
Yes, I would say so.
A lot of fisting
because when I'm double fisting, I do feel bad about myself a little bit. It's like look at me, like I'm a pig, like I'm drinking 2 beers at once. Like
seems very efficient.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
because you don't want to have to go back and forth and back and forth.
Well, then,
you're smart.
But then you start going. You're like, all right, I got to hit the under 12 timeout in the second half because I got to hit the bathroom because I've been holding my bladder together for the last 6 minutes while Nebraska's missed 5 3-pointers in a row.
Wear a diaper.
Maybe people don't drink when football is good. Yeah, no, don't do that. When maybe Dannon was estimating that 25 would be a bad season, so people would have to drink to forget.
Oh,
but all of a sudden, Nebraska football is good. So like, no, you know what? I want to stay and watch the game. John adds, now this is the obvious part of beer in Memorial Stadium. Another reason, actually, this stat may help the argument of tearing down the stadium.
Okay.
All right. You want to sell more beer? We got to redo Memorial Stadium.
Sure.
People aren't going to stand in line for 45 minutes to get an $11 beer.
So that's that. Now I have to look doing BROR.
I'm so glad. I am so glad that we have started the momentum and the train to just build a whole new stadium.
I think
just tear it down, sell the plot of land to the university, move the football facility, just pick it up.
You can't do that.
Everything else that's inside of Memorial Stadium, like the academics, the weight room, all the offices, just move it over by Haymarket Park, where they now have this big open lot for parking.
Copy Clemson. Let's just start a Clemson tradition. Okay?
It was a good idea when you said that.
Seriously, let's get 2 buses. Let's make the special buses. The buses are only ever used for transporting the football team. You know what?
The tunnel drive.
We'll park the buses. We'll always have the buses parked in front of the facility. So it'll be like, oh, cool, the buses are there. They'll hop on the buses. Then they'll go to Haymarket Park. You'll close down 10th Street. You'll have a little parade over to the stadium. That would work.
I had a discussion yesterday. Somebody was like, hey, why don't they just tear down West Stadium? And I'm like, there's a lot of revenue that is involved there, okay? You got suites. You also got, what about the academics? Do you want kids not to go to the academic advisors, the training table, all the stuff that is over there?
The economy would suffer if West Stadium.
Like I said, look at all the revenue. I mean, they hold year-round events.
Let's tear down our suites.
Yeah, that's
a good idea.
I cannot wait to see the first bar mitzvah that's held at Memorial Stadium. I need to see those videos. I feel like that would be an absolute bang. I should get married there. That'd be an absolute banger. Yeah. No, I think look, when you start adding more and more money to this, it's going to cost more and more and more, and 600 turns to 700 turns to $1 billion. Yeah, you should start looking around and saying, you know what? It probably would be more efficient if we just built a brand new thing, and it would be easier for us, and we could absolutely customize this the way that we want to customize it.
It's a frustrating thing. Kyle says, no one is staying in Lincoln after games. Got to drive home. Can't be drinking too much. Fair point. Kent says, as the quality of opponents go up, the alcohol consumption goes up.
Well,
that's what I've noticed working security. I'd love to see like the Michigan consumption compared to Houston Christian.
The game by game.
Well,
or can you imagine if we got like a quarter by quarter like breakdown, like after Nebraska like went down 7 to Michigan State, beer sales like rose 17%.
Well, when USC and Nebraska get locked into an 11 a.m. game, that'll make a lot of people that sell beer unhappy.
Yeah.
Hey, make the t-shirts. It starts today. and it's okay to openly root for this, okay, because there's a lot on the line. Make the T-shirts. Nebraska, USC, 3-0 before November 1. It doesn't roll off your tongue. It would look good on a bumper sticker. Going to look good on a T-shirt. Nebraska, USC, 3-0 before November 1. 3-0 before November 1.
Not your best idea. The
No,
ABT was
no.
better.
What was your Nebraskans for Cincinnati or something like that, or the Nebraska
we are,
fan club?
we are
for,
all Bearcats today.
Um,
Sorry, Northwest Missouri State.
By the way, too, like the max amount of first off, are they doing liquor over at Memorial Stadium? Can I get like a Jack and Diet over there? No, you can't. It's just beer.
Seltzers and beer.
Okay. It's just I'm not going to
You know
be able
why?
to go to a
Why
game
would
this
you-
year because of beer.
Oh, you want to get a Jack and Pepsi?
Yeah, why not? Jack
That's
and
not
Diet
the
Pepsi.
same.
Who are you?
What do you mean?
Jack and Pepsi?
Jack and Diet Pepsi's totally fine. Get out of here.
Never
Oh,
had
it's
that.
not.
It's still
it is
fine.
Not. It is not.
Get a
you know
rum
what?
and Diet
Oh
Pepsi.
my God.
It tastes good too.
Rum
and Diet Pepsi's
Please
is a
apologize to
great-
Jack Daniels right now.
I'm not
Jack
apologizing
and
to
Diet
Jack.
Pepsi.
It's fine. It's Coca-Cola.
Oh,
It's
Can
dark.
I get a Jack and Diet Shasta?
It's dark soda. I'm going to tell you something.
Pepsi and Coke
I'm gonna tell
are
you something.
not the same.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah, be
in my
honest with me.
ideal
You
world,
don't know.
No.
You don't know that. You just want.
Are you-
why
are you
don't
about
you
to
just
tell-
go straight Jack Daniels?
Were you about to tell me I don't know ball when it comes to
You
alcohol?
Don't know your soda.
First off,
Do not dirty the Coke.
okay. When the type of Jacks that I like to drink, I'm not really worried about the mixie. Okay, it's not like the mixie's doing that much work. All right, it's a bit of a heavy pour. Secondly,
Oh my
the
God.
difference isn't stark
Oh.
to the point where it's a disgusting alcoholic drink. Secondly, whiskey and 7-Up is better.
But this is
Probably
the
have that.
discussion. You are.
You don't think you'd want a jacket?
You are besmirching
You don't-
Coke by putting Pepsi in the same sentence with it.
You don't think that people would enjoy a Jack and whatever over at a Memorial Stadium game, regardless
Hockey
of
Dad
whether or
likes
not they
Jack
have-
and Jack, a little ice. Yeah. Why do you got to dirty the Jack?
It's a
Unless it's
mixie.
unless it's Diet Coke or Coke.
I think 3 beers is the ideal amount of beers at a football game.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend more than $30 at a
Hey,
football game.
3 beers anytime you go out for beers is
Alan
start.
says let's just have Jack and Big K Cola.
Yes,
There you go.
that's
There you
fine
go.
too.
And Big K is
Jack and Diet right.
Hey, is nothing holy? That's right. That's right. Okay. Here is Randy. Randy, help the boy out.
Matt, you really got to go with Diet Dr. Pepper and Jack.
That's a great
Diet
one.
Dr.
I've done
Pepper.
that,
Now,
Randy.
Diet
That's a
Dr.
great
I've heard that.
suggestion.
Now that's I would vibe with that,
I
even
have
though it's a
to.
Pepsi product.
Diet Dr. Pepper and Bailey's is even better.
Ooh,
Whoa.
not tried that.
Have you had rum chata with whiskey before, Randy? It's actually pretty good.
I have.
Yeah, I've enjoyed. Yeah, what do you think of it?
Randy is a pro.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking Randy what his thoughts
Randy,
on rum
have you had the
chata
sign?
and whiskey.
Don't do the rum chata too much, but
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
but-
All right. Have you had whiskey and Mountain Dew? I've had that recently.
Ooh.
That was pretty good.
I have not tried it with Mountain Dew.
Well,
but,
Mountain Dew, the story is that Mountain Dew was created to mix with whiskey. That's why I tried it.
Oh.
So the original makers of of
Those
Mountain
made it for
Dew were like, we
breakfast.
want to make a perfect mix for whiskey. So that's how Mountain Dew was made. So I had it. There's a Diet Coke is way better, or Diet Dr. Pepper as well. But it's worth a try, Randy, if you haven't had it, in my opinion.
Hey, thank you, Randy.
Yep.
Ooh, Diet Dr. Pepper. Now I'm not. You
It's
know,
good.
It's the only one really of the Pepsi family, like with Mountain Dew, that I like.
You ever had I've had a vanilla Diet Dr. Pepper with whiskey.
I've not had that. I've seen it, but
Really
I'm
good.
loyal to my Coke. I like my Coke. I like Steve King, and the Coke guys here in town.
I know.
Tim Stibbs.
I like Coke too, but I'm also not like I like a Jack with a dark cola.
Yeah, you could probably have to take a time out here after that.
Okay, I'll
yeah,
burn one. I'll
yeah.
burn one, and then I'll tell you later that I was clapping and that I wasn't calling a timeout.
The
at all.
Wolf
You
of
give it-
Pimp Street says, "Would you order a Jack and Tab?"
Hell yeah. Tab.
What's a tab?
Google me.
Yeah.
I'm not
Jay,
going to Kurt Signetti everybody all day.
Last had one
Jay-
of those in 1989.
Jay Moore will join us here in about 15 minutes. I interviewed Jay Moore's mother-in-law the
Over
other
a
night.
glass of diet. Oh, okay.
No,
You
I
just
did.
interviewed her.
Yeah, she
That's
was.
sick.
She's in the. It's. I did not know the story. His mother-in-law is in the National High School Hall of Fame and the Nebraska High School Hall of Fame.
That's awesome.
Mimi is an incredible golf coach.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's sick.
So I interviewed her on TV the other night.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you going to lead off with that with him?
Yes. Well, I already told him. I said, hey,
Oh, okay.
I'm talking to your mother-in-law today.
Do you remember when I told you that I said we need to ask Jay Moore this question tomorrow?
Yeah, you've forgotten.
I totally forgot.
Yeah, not a surprise.
Do you remember?
No.
Thanks.
I barely remember what I did a couple hours ago. Oh, wait a minute. I got up and went to the bathroom for the 8th time last night.
We gotta figure that out, man. That's not healthy.
I'm
just
old.
age.
I'm old. It's age.
No, I know, but you need sleep. You can't be breaking up your sleep like that.
No, I'm fine.
You need to get into REN. You're not getting enough REN.
Well, tell another part of my body that learn REM. All right. Also, Andy Greeter and Jay Paterno with what he thinks might happen and where Matt Rule fits in during lying season. Get ready. 2 months. Also, 2 months from now, regardless of Matt Rule as a head coach or somebody else, the Nebraska job will be a better job 2 months from now. Jay Paterno, John Walker, Brandon Vogel, all to come on this Wednesday edition of Gary Matt on 1620 The Zone. Hey, basketball is back. Creighton basketball right here on the Zone exhibition game. Good one against Iowa State coming up Friday at the Chi. Continue to listen to 1620 The Zone for your chance to win tickets to the game so that you'll be able to go there and use the enhanced Wi-Fi to watch the Nebraska football game while you watch the Jays and the Clones on Friday.
Yes, because it's an exhibition game.
Huh?
Because it's an exhibition game, of course.
No, there's a lot of people. There's once or twice a year they cross over, and so you got to watch the Nebraska game while you're at a Creighton game.
The last
Did they
Maryland
enhance
game.
the Wi-Fi at Chi Health Center?
Yeah. When I was most recently there, did not make the Tate McRae concert. Harper Murray didn't call me up and say, "Hey, you want to go?"
I didn't get that call either.
No, I probably will never get that call, but
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, I'm probably
20-year-old Gary could dream. Yeah, the Wi-Fi was better. My T-Mobile sucks in this town, but inside of the Chi, it was better. Somebody just asked me the comment I made before the break. So this is because he said, clarify what you mean about Nebraska job. So go back 2 days ago, use some leverage, let everybody know, hey, if you weren't listening in Las Vegas when I talked about how far Nebraska is away from being a power, how close they are to being a power, and it takes a little bit of investment, I'm just going to tell you guys again, because Pat Kraft fired James Franklin yesterday and has given me this platform. Okay. So it's a great opportunity for Rule to reiterate and to rustle some jimmies about how far or how close Nebraska is from being that $30 million roster. So people are like, okay, we like where we're going. Let's find some money. So let's say Rule leaves.
Sure.
What you also do is you're like, okay, let's fix the holes that were in the NIL world that Rule was talking about for the next coach. So that's why I say 2 months from now, regardless of who the head coach is at Nebraska, the Nebraska football job from that standpoint of acquisition will be in a lot better spot than it is right now, in my opinion.
Well, they'll go
that's
ahead.
what I mean.
They'll go ahead and they'll try and make sure that that doesn't happen again. That
It's
they'll
fixing the holes.
Exactly. And also too, even if they were to try and put together this package and find more money for Rule, and they're like, hey, we got it for you. We have the NIL you need, and then he leaves, you'll still have that base there.
Jay Moore stops by next. Going to kick off a busy last half of this Wednesday show. We're halfway through the week. Jay Moore, Andy Greeter on Minnesota. Jay Paterno is coming up in an hour from State College. John Walker from his basement. And Brandon Vogel from his study. All on Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. All right, you get Jay's plays on Tuesday night. You get actual Jay Moore on Wednesday mornings as we welcome in the black shirt feller, golfer extraordinaire. Good morning.
Morning, gentlemen. How we doing?
Good.
Doing great.
Hey, I texted you this on Friday night. It was a pleasure to meet your mother-in-law, who is a legendary golf coach in the state at Elkhorn and Elkhorn South. She's in dual Hall of Fame's Mimi Ramsbottom. So that was a pleasure. Your wife's mom is fantastic.
She is. Yes, I'm very, very fortunate. She is. Yeah, she's one of the best. I hope you grilled her a little bit because I told her she can definitely handle it. But yeah, she's one of the best ones out there, and her success being inducted into the Nebraska Coaches Hall of Fame last summer, that was a great time seeing her going in there. But yeah, she deserves everything. She's such a good person and hard worker that not surprised by all her recognition because it's a lot of hard work and dedication that she's put into the game of golf, and it's fun to just be by her side when she's gone through that, just because of my relationship with golf too. So it's been fun to watch.
That is great. Okay, help me here. Help Matt and myself and everybody else.
Yes.
So last 2 weeks, double-figure leads, blow, come back, give up a run of 17 unanswered Saturday at Maryland. Second quarter, third quarter, not so good. First and fourth quarter, great. Give up 5 sacks one game. Find a way in the fourth quarter in windy conditions to win. How is Nebraska winning these type of games in 2025?
Man, it's good. It's a really good question. I think we had something in our locker room when I was at Nebraska, and they always said start fast, finish strong. And Nebraska's kind of doing that. Obviously, they have those lulls. That middle 8 that everyone likes to talk about is important, and they have lost dramatically in that middle 8. But I think the reason why this team has been successful in just overcoming those lulls, that middle 8, the third quarter, they have such a good mentality. And I brought it up last night on the show, is they have such a great next play mentality. They don't get, college football is so momentum driven. And at times, the last 2 games, it just felt like it was up against them. You could pull up the ESPN win percentages, and it was not looking good. But they just don't care. And they just, no matter the mistakes that are made, they don't. I think for so many years, and I think we're still in this as a fan base, we just kind of go, okay, here it comes. Oh my gosh. Here comes the downfall, the onslaught, the bad breaks. And I think as a team, they're kind of over it. And I think they're saying that doesn't matter. We're done thinking that way. We're done feeling sorry for ourselves, and we're just going to go and play. And we're going to make the necessary plays at necessary times. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be clean. It's not going to look. Maybe you're not going to have coaching tape on certain situations, but they're going to find a way. And it's gritty, and I love it. The fan in me hates it because it's driving me crazy watching the games, and my blood pressure goes through the roof. But I like the mentality that we just haven't had that in a while. That next play mentality has been really good, and they're just finding ways, and they're just doesn't matter what's happened, good, bad, indifferent. What can I do to make myself better, make this team better next play? That's my best answer, I guess, to give you guys, is why they're overcoming these deficits in poor play in the middle of the football games.
So I think when you look at this game from an optics perspective, Jay, you can kind of convince yourself, all right, this might be a trap game. You just got ranked, you're 5-1, you're going on the road, team you haven't beaten in a while, especially team you haven't beaten on the road in a while. But then I also see Matt Rule talk at the podium, and I see in particularly Dylan talk at the podium, and they just look like two guys and the rest of the team of just men motivated to prove people wrong, men motivated to break streaks and break trends and tell people we are a good football team. It doesn't matter what's happened in the past. Do you think that attitude, first off, do you agree with that? Do you see that as well? And then on top of that, do you think that attitude is good enough to cut through a potential trap?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, just even what we just discussed previously, they're kind of, there's no curse. There's no superstitions. There's no, all that is all premeditated stuff that you can kind of get caught up in when you do feel sorry for yourself. You want to find excuses why you haven't had the luck or you've had the results that you've wanted. I mean, they said it. They're going to wear the all whites again, and they know they wore the all whites in Indiana. It was one of their worst. It was probably the worst game they played last year. There's like that's not an issue, and I think that's why they've kind of had these. They're able to kind of get over these hurdles that we've seen a lot of teams in the past not be able to accomplish. And yeah, I think just having that next play mentality, don't feel sorry for yourself. Don't just all the things you can just a human being in general, just kind of lull yourself into. It's like, oh man, we're working so hard, we're not getting the results. Man, what else can we do? And it's like, no, just keep grinding, keep working. You're going to get them. And it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be, it's not a constant trajectory. You're going to have ups and downs, but in the end result, you're still going to get there. And the culture is really good. And you've heard that, but I still think I don't think they're completely out of the woods by any means.
Sure.
Let's be honest. Like they still got to play better. They can't go up there and turn the ball over 3 times and be -3 and expect to win another football game. That doesn't happen. I think that's unrealistic. But I do know is that if it does happen, this team's gonna doesn't bend. They don't blink to it, and they're just gonna say, okay, this is the cards we're dealt, and we're gonna make the best of it. And that's kind of a beautiful thing because obviously teams in general, this is our human nature. Sometimes you just like to fold and quit, and this team's just not going to do that. And I think that's the mentality of Coach Rule, of this team. They're just not going to feel sorry for themselves. They're going to go out and attack it, in whatever cards are dealt. They're going to handle it.
Jay Moore joining us. We sit in the middle of October, and Nebraska has a guy that is second in the Big Ten in rushing yards. And you're like, whoa, that hasn't happened very often. And it's Emmett. He's got the most carries of anybody in the league at 105, and he is 55 yards behind Justice Haynes, who is now a little dinged up. So as Emmett starts to stack games from Michigan State to, of course, what he did last week, what is this running game? Is it Emmett is just on another level, or is it, hey, the offensive line is helping out? How do you balance trying to discuss his last 2 weeks?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Emmett's really good. I think he's shown that. I think they've trusted it, the run game more. They got away from it, obviously, in the Michigan game. They got you got punched in the mouth. There's no other way to put it. And you try to utilize what you do best. And let's be honest, it's probably throwing the football. And that's where majority of your weapons lie within this offense. But once you get the confidence and Holgerson and his staff, they got to trust it too. And I think you saw that, and even seen Holgerson's comments in the press conference. They were able to kind of minimize Maryland's D line because they ran the ball and they ran it well. Obviously, Maryland had 19 sacks coming to that game, led the conference in that. They only had 1, and so that's their ability to do that. He said, "I wish I would have done it more against Michigan State to kind of slow down their progress up front." You're seeing an OC that's finally trusting it. Let's be honest, Holgerson is not. He comes from an air raid type offense. He doesn't he's comfortable throwing the football. But he understands if he can run the ball, he's going to run the ball. And I think you're seeing that. Now, it'd be nice to have an implementation of other backs get involved and have more success. But I think that shows you how good Emmett is. I think that shows you the line is playing better together. I forget just how hard and the cohesiveness that comes together as your 5 guys. They've had injuries and they've had tackles come in and out, that they're starting to play better together as a whole. So that's part of it as well. But yeah, he's the real deal, and I hope he keeps us going home. He knows Minnesota didn't offer him a scholarship to play football there, so that's gonna be. I hope he keeps this going and kind of shows them what's up a little bit. But I think Holgerson's trusting it more, and that's going to pay dividends. I think especially now when you get into this meat of the Big Ten schedule into October and November, got to be able to run football, and you got to have OC that trusts his offense so they can do it as well.
So I haven't fully finished rewatching the game. I'm nearly done. But what I noticed on defense, Jay, was just the multiplicity of Nebraska, right? They've run a 4-3. They ran a 4-2-5. They ran, a 5 down front. They ran a traditional 3-3-5 a couple of snaps. They at one point, and I think so far it's the only time they did it, they threw 6 defensive backs out there on a third down. From, you being a former black shirt, former defensive player, just how much of an advantage is it to have a defense where you're just so multiple, where you can just do so many things? You can have so many different fronts, so many different personnels, and how difficult can that be on offenses?
Yeah, I think it can be a blessing and a curse. I
Hmm.
do think you can get too complicated, but I will say the reason that they're able to utilize so many different looks in the secondary because, and for the majority, I mean, I'll throw Javen Wright in there. You've had a lot of guys who have played a ton of football. I mean,
Hmm.
Javen Wright's in his 7th year. Singleton is in his 6th year, I believe. So you've had a lot of guys play a lot of football. So you can do more unique things. You can get more exotic. You can change up the wrinkles a little bit in your coverages and how you play the back end. Up front wise, where it gets a little trickier because you're younger, but they've done a good job. I think you want to call it your front 4 or 5 guys. They've gotten a ton better. Williams Noweri has progressed so well, and you see the evolution of him, just kind of becoming what we thought and think he was going to be coming out of high school, and obviously getting him from Missouri. I'd like to see some other guys progress, but you're starting to see that. I like it. As a defensive guy, you like to be multiple, but as a player, I put myself into that too, and know sometimes things can get a little too complicated,
Yeah.
and the waters can get a little too muddy. And when it comes to when you're out there and live bolts are flying, sometimes your brain can get in the way, and you're like, God dang, how am I
Sure.
supposed to fit this? And is this right? Because last week we were kind of doing this, and now this week we're doing this, and so I get a little concerned. I think just with this just being too multiple, but listen, I think as a OC game planner for it all, and as the offensive staff came from this defense, it's got to be a nightmare. Just all the different looks you get. But again, I like it, but I'm still hesitant because I know at times it can provide some issues just because you can get one guy just off the wrong page or thinking it's something else from a different game plan. Man, you'll those offense will hit their head in goalposts really quick.
Hey, let me ask you, and you guys kind of talked about this last night, and we've talked about red zone issues in running the ball and scoring consistently, and then all of a sudden it goes from 3rd to 4th down, and you got to make a decision. What was your thoughts on the slot fade for the touchdown that was called and executed to win the game?
Yeah, it's well, good execution, great catch, Dane Key. Uh, you would have liked to maybe run the ball or try to eat up some more clock so Maryland doesn't have as much time. But again, when you're in that red zone, that especially that low red zone inside the 10, the field gets so condensed, it gets so hard. You see a ton of NFL teams that have elite running backs, elite O lines do the same thing. It's hard to run the football down there, especially it's even harder when your quarterback doesn't keep it for the most of the time. Really, rarely, ever. I think Dylan's maybe kept it on a zone read maybe less than 5 times in his career. So I don't hate it. And again, where's your strength as offense? You have Dane Key, you have Isaiah Hunter, you have Ja'Cory Barney, you have Lindemeyer at tight end. So you have the weapons to utilize them down there. Would I love us to get under center and go in power I formation and run power or lead right in there and stuff it down their throat? Yes, but I just don't think that's a strength of this team right now. They're obviously their successful runs are in the middle of the field, out of shotgun, out of pistol, where teams have to respect it a little more. Everything, but when it gets tight down there, you got to do what you got to do. I don't love it. I don't hate it. But if they're going to execute it, uh, man, get your ball into your best player's hands, which is arguably dealing on this offense, and let them disperse it to those big 3 wide receivers because those guys are tough to deal with down there.
I'll be careful to say troubles in the end zone or in the red zone because they have scored points, right? I mean, like this team has scored 34 points last game. They scored 37 points like the week before. It's not like they can't score points, but sometimes the struggles that come in the red zone, would you attribute that to just the O-line, or what would you say is like a key to having good red zone offense? Is it just having a good running back? Like where I'm asking you this, Jay, to just kind of pinpoint where they might be able to clean some of the troubles they've had in the offseason.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as a defense, there's so many games that we go into, and I mean, playing Texas Tech and Mizzou and some of these high-powered offense I played. We just said, hey, they're gonna get their yardages in between the 20s, but when they get down the red zone, we're gonna hold them to 3 points because the field condenses and they can't do anything down there. They can't operate like they want to. So I know a lot of defense will. It's things get so tight and so condensed that it's just hard to do it. You'd love to be able to run the football more consistently. You'd be able to utilize some things. If you had more of a mobile quarterback, we don't. You just got to accept that right now. It'd be awesome to get down there and run a option, run something, where they can, really force the defense's hand. They just don't have that, and it's hard. It's hard when you have 8 guys playing downhill, and because that's all they have to worry about, and then they don't have to worry about anyone getting over top of them, anything deep. They know that they got the 12th defender at the back of the end zone that can handle anything. It'll be interesting to see this week. I think Minnesota struggled with some mobile quarterback runs. I think you might, they've tried that against Maryland last week with Harburg. Let's see if they kind of want to utilize that again against Minnesota because they struggled. I'm a big fan of that. Utilizing Harburg in the red zone. I don't know. I guess I haven't compared the stats to see who's the most successful teams down in the red zone. I think every offense is getting in there. It's like, God, how can we be more efficient down there? Because it seems so easy from afar. Like the ball's at the 10-yard line. How can we not get the damn thing in there? But it's just the field is condensed and the defense doesn't have to respect everything. And everyone sits in cover 2 and covers the flat. And because they don't have to worry about anything getting over top of you and they can play downhill, it just gets really, really difficult. I think Nebraska's just the wrinkles and utilize some other things with Holgorsen. I think it will continue to get better as the year goes on.
Hey, fantastic stuff. Always appreciate our Wednesday chats, my friend.
Yep, guys. Thank you. Enjoy the short week and don't go too crazy figuring out who the next coach at Penn State's going to be.
Oh,
no, I was considering asking you a question about that thing, but I'm like, I don't think Jay wants to talk about that. Jay wants to talk ball or golf.
Yeah, we dug.
I'm going
ball
to
golf.
I'm going.
I'm not too.
On Saturday.
I'm not too concerned. Whatever happens.
That's a great way. We look at life that way as well.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Okay. Thanks, Jay.
See you guys.
I wanted to talk golf with Jay.
Jay's got to go lift. If people that were watching on 1620 The Zone TV,
he's so
and played in about 20 years. Yeah.
You wouldn't know it.
Cock diesel.
Yeah. Dude, he could line up right now.
He could light up a dude
he
right
might
now.
How tall is Jay? I haven't met Jay.
6'3".
He's a pretty big dude.
I mean, is he bigger than at least one Nebraska defensive lineman, you think?
He
looks like
No.
They're a little bit.
I mean, he's pretty good size. I mean, he looks like you look at him and you go, he's an athlete. He's an NFL guy. Played in the NFL. Yeah, he looks like a Russian. He looks like, the Russian size has really changed. Like you think, hey, let's get a Grant Wistrom. Like Grant Wistrom, I bet wore a size 32 pants, like a waist.
Jeez, that's crazy.
But like they were like somewhat,
yeah.
I don't want to say skinny because they were athletically built, but they would be able to carry a 6'3", 225-pound body on the outside.
Sure. Yeah. I have a size 34 and I'm 5'10", 180 pounds. So when you talk about a longtime NFL player, national champion Grant Wistrom having a smaller waist than me, that's crazy.
I might be stretching at 32 because 32 is awful small. But Grant Wistrom, because they would wear the midriff, and you'd see guys' waist, and his waist was tiny.
Yeah,
I was like jealous back in the day.
Next time you see Grant, you should ask him, "Hey, Grant, what was your waist size?"
I don't think so.
I don't think that would go well.
I think as a grown adults now, we don't have those conversations. Back when we were hanging at Lazari's on O Street.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, we could have those discussions. It'd be like, guess what?
He's got a small waist.
Still to come of the hour.
Wistrom.
Andy Greeter from the Pioneer Press to talk Gopher football. And then coming up at 9 from the Penn State Board of Trustees, the son of Joe Paterno, Jay Paterno, will join us. I guess he would be the one that would have to sign off on the new football coach at Penn State.
That's an awesome get. I cannot wait for that combo.
Jay's been on the show before, but at different circumstances. I guess anything that happens at Penn State that's not like X's and O's related, we get Jay on. So he'll join us coming up at 9. John Walker as well. Again, continue to listen to the show. We got tickets to you to get in to watch Creighton, Iowa State. Good exhibition game. College basketball exhibition games greater than NBA preseason games.
Yes.
But unless it's Cooper Flag or a 360 by Zion or the untradeable 7'5" Wemby. Yes, I did watch NBA last night. We're closing in. Got a couple weeks.
I will start watching the NBA on the beginning of the season.
Watch those Hornets, man. It's not just Kalkbrenner. That little vibe in the hive. That's gonna be my screen name. Vibe in the hive.
You made fun of me when I was saying this about NFL preseason.
Yeah.
And now you're doing this for NBA preseason, which is way
more
less,
starters play.
Way less relevant.
I don't know. We'll see. Also, Brandon Vogel on 1620 The Zone. All right, Nebraska and Minnesota on Friday night. Big Ten will not allow Nebraska and Minnesota up in the Twin Cities to play on a normal night. So Thursday 2 years ago, Friday this year, up at Huntington Bank Stadium. Beautiful place to watch a football game right there on the campus. It'll be busy in the cities this weekend as we welcome in Andy Greeter from the St. Paul Pioneer Press, who joins us now. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning.
Hey, we talked many times, and you've covered the Gophers, so you know what the identity is. From afar, we go, you play Minnesota, they're going to line it up, and they're going to run it down your throat. And then we watch the Purdue game, and we watch this season and go, whoa, how was Minnesota 114th in the country in rushing offense? Is it injuries that have prevented the growth of the typical Minnesota run game, or is it something else?
Well, I would say that this has been a bit of an identity shift. Last year, they also struggled to run the ball and kind of flipped how they go about things. They had Max Brosmer, who's now an undrafted quarterback in the Vikings, and they've kind of passed first to kind of set up the run has been kind of the idea last year. And this year, it's been somewhat similar. They want to run the football, but they've struggled to do so. In the same vein, they've struggled to get a push up front to create running lanes for their running backs. So it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of an identity shift and a little bit of struggling to be able to do so.
Andy, we appreciate you coming on and talking Gopher football here ahead of the matchup on Friday. I've watched one Minnesota game live this season, and it was the Rutgers game. And I saw Drake Lindsey, and I thought, oh, my God, this guy looks legit. I mean, he had over 300 yards. He had 3 touchdowns. I mean, that was an incredible game to watch. It was incredibly competitive. But then you kind of go and you look at his stats and you look at the full story and how he played against other teams. And it's maybe not the case as what you saw against Rutgers. Just in general, Andy, how have you seen this redshirt freshman quarterback grow from week 1 to now?
Well, I would say that if you look at the end of the Purdue game, he led a game-tying drive and kind of was very poised and composed at that time and had kind of a really kind of gritty 4th and 2 conversion where he scrambled for a first down. So I think given the fact that he's a redshirt freshman and that they're running a pro-style offense that asks a lot of him at the line of scrimmage, I think, while his stats might not back it up with some of the other people in the conference, I think he's done pretty well for the most part.
Is it, and there's a lot to like about him. He's a big boy, and now they can throw the football with a quarterback. Like we know around here, from Mitch Leidner to Philip Nelson to Tanner Morgan to a guy that's still playing in the Big Ten but not in Minnesota in Athan. And then, as you mentioned, Brosmer, who was a 1-year transfer that had a really good year last year. Like when you're looking at the quarterbacks that you've covered lately of Minnesota, like where in his first year as a starter is Drake Lindsey fitting in?
I would say, probably pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he's done a nice job of taking care of the football. I think he has shown a big right arm. I think he goes through his progressions well. I think he has shown kind of a maturity that I think has been commendable. He was roommates with Max Brosmer. Obviously, Max Brosmer was a 6-year grad transfer senior, so I didn't see the beginning of his career. That started at the FCS level, but he's kind of went under Max's wing and really kind of leaned into kind of the level of preparation that they feel is necessary, the level of understanding in the run game. Like I said, they go to the line of scrimmage with 2, sometimes 3 plays, and for a redshirt freshman to be tasked with that responsibility and for the most part getting him in the right looks has done a nice job.
From your perspective, where do you think is a area in which Minnesota has an advantage, whether it be on the offensive end or defensive end against Nebraska, that maybe they could take advantage of?
That's a good question. I think the Gophers have done a nice job last week in taking away the football. They had 3 interceptions of Purdue's quarterback. And obviously we saw Dylan Raiola throw 3 picks last week against Maryland. So I think the Gophers safeties is probably one of their strongest position groups. Obviously you saw Coy Parrish with a pick 6 that was the game-winning score against the Boilermakers. So if they're able to win this game as an underdog, I think if that happens, I think more than likely they win in the turnover margin and getting points off those turnovers.
How many, and there's also Kerry Brown, who has played really well for Minnesota this year. How much of it has to do with that's Danny Collins' background, the defensive coordinators? He knows his DBs, and that's the strength of this unit.
Yeah, I think, that's one of the reasons why they were able to get Coy Parrish from Northern Minnesota and keep him from going to Ohio State, is the success that they've had at that position. Obviously, they've got Tyler Nubin, who was the second-round pick, who had a big interception the last time Nebraska came to Minnesota that kind of led to the game-winning score for Minnesota. They've got Jordan Howden, who's with the Saints. They've obviously got Antoine Winfield Jr., who's with the Buccaneers. So they kind of leaned into the success in developing players to go on to the NFL, and that's how they were able to get Coy Parrish.
Looking at a guy that had a very promising start to his career in 2023 and then a really good year, especially in the back half in 2024, and now has struggled a bit, is Darius Taylor. Now, I know that he's been hurt. He's only played 4 games this year. Andy, what is your expectation for this game for Darius Taylor, and what's your expectation for the rest of the season for Taylor?
Well, I think he's starting to get fully healthy. He missed 2 games against Cal and against Rutgers. He was kind of on a pitch count in the Ohio State game. Obviously, that got away from him, so it was easier to kind of take him out and not, put more wear and tear on him. It seems like he's gotten healthier. Obviously, you look at his rushing totals, and he had 13 carries for 30-some yards. Obviously, that's not good enough, but I think he's struggled to have running length. I think he has shown himself to be a very good pass catcher out of the backfield. He was one of their leading receivers against Purdue. So I think that they'll look to get him going on the ground, but also understand that he can be pretty dangerous catching the ball out of the backfield. The Gophers were struggling to get anything going against Purdue early on, and then they ran a screen play to Darius that was one of their biggest plays of the game. It really kind of jump-started their comeback. So he's dangerous out of the backfield. That's probably been the most, like I said, dangerous part of his game so far, given their struggles in the run game. And I'd imagine that he's going to be a focal point on Friday and throughout the rest of the year if he's able to stay healthy.
Andy Greeter from the St. Paul Pioneer Press joining us, covers the Gophers, which didn't play last year, play this year, take 26 off. But one thing has been a constant when Nebraska and Minnesota played. PJ Fleck gets up for this game. He's 6-1, Andy, against Nebraska. Bigger picture with the landscape of college football and some jobs opening up, and it seems like every year PJ's name will be out there, but he has a strong commitment, not only to the University of Minnesota, but I'll give him credit. His commitment to the community is on point, and he's been there for a while. He's had the same athletic director, which, there was so much transition in Minnesota where the football coach didn't know the athletic director and vice versa. Like, as you look at the job security and what PJ is doing at Minnesota, like, are we looking at the guy that's the second longest tenured coach in the Big Ten right now? We're not going to see his name pop up all over the place in this silly offseason?
I don't know if I'd go that far. I think that his name has come up annually, and he's gotten pretty much annual rollover contract extensions because of it. And I think that's, like you said, I think that's because of the success that he's had in kind of the program retention and the sustainable success that they've had at Minnesota.
Is there a vibe at all with Minnesota? And this is me just being curious, like that there should be more than
Hold on,
just...
Andy, what kind of dogs do you have?
Sorry about that. I got an Aussie Shepherd.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
It sounded like a big dog. That's a big dog bark in the background. But what I was going to ask you, Andy, is, Minnesota over the last couple of years, right? 7 wins, 8 wins, Duke Mayo Bowl, right? You had the 1 year in 2019 where it was very magical. But I guess this is the long way of me asking, like, what is the expectation at Minnesota? And is PJ Fleck, like, he's, in your opinion, is he consistently meeting that? Or is there a vibe at all that maybe there should be another 9-win year coming or another 10-win year coming?
Well, I think that he has set an expectation this season at Big Ten Media Days of being a team that could contend for the college football playoff. And that is kind of out of his character when there have been preseason expectations from outside the program that he's been asked about. He usually deflects about any sort of bigger picture goal. So to see him kind of set an expectation of something that lofty and using Indiana as an example of what could be possible for his team, I think was a departure from what he's done in the past. I think, like, going back to your point earlier about his name coming up for other jobs, and he's been able to win 8-9 games more often than not at Minnesota. I think that makes him, interesting candidate for other schools because of the lack of resources that Minnesota has when it comes to NIL budgets, for instance. So I think that the idea was that Minnesota could punch up and find a way to get to 7, 8, 9 wins. Obviously, that loss at Cal going into the bye week kind of made for what's been a kind of a longer first half of the season. But I think they still look at it and say, hey, we can still have a good year. We can still go on a run and reach that kind of, if it's not college football playoff, maybe those kind of next tier bowl games with 7, 8, 9 wins.
Andy, we always appreciate the insight and the conversation. We'll see you on Friday. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Thank you. Sorry about the dog.
No
no
problem
great.
whatsoever. Hey, thank you. Andy Greeter from the St. Paul Pioneer Press. I hate the Big Ten.
Why do you hate the Big
Do you guys realize this? Do you know next year, Nebraska will not play Minnesota or Wisconsin in the same year?
So dumb.
At least with the new Big Ten, you got Wisconsin last year, no Minnesota. This year, Minnesota, no Wisconsin. Next year, no.
That makes no sense.
But instead, Nebraska gets to play Indiana and they get to play Rutgers.
I was going to say that means that
and
there's a
Michigan
Rutgers
State.
game. Yeah. The Michigan State thing is weird too, because Michigan State should be a much bigger brand that you actually care about, and they just have not been able to do that. So now you do get to play Northwestern, right?
No,
Northwestern next year
because Ohio State comes back on. Oregon is on. I mean, Indiana is nothing to. That'll be Rule and Signetti against each other in 26, right?
It just
See what you did there.
Yeah, maybe
it will be.
It will be.
Yeah, no. So
that makes no sense. It makes no sense.
The closest, so Iowa, take out Iowa, a trip to Champaign. Yeah, everything else is from the east or west.
That's just one of those things where it just frustrates you so much because college football is so much fun because
you can't get any hate.
Well, no, but the regionality of it, right? Because like in the NFL, right, as an NFL fan, there was probably only like 3 stadiums I could really go to. I could drive to. I could drive to Minnesota. I could drive to Green Bay. I could drive to Detroit, right? Those were the only viable options that I had. Maybe I could go out to Cleveland, but who the hell wants to watch the Browns? With college football, it was fun because you had 10 or 12 teams like relatively around you that you could potentially make trips out to. You could see different cities and campuses and stadiums. And now that Nebraska has essentially relinquished that, being in the Big Ten, and then the fact that they don't even schedule the teams that Nebraska could viably, realistically go to and see other campuses and go to away games is so dumb. And also the cost of it too.
Miss the Big 8.
I mean, it ain't cheap going all the way out to Madison. It ain't cheap going all the way out to Bloomington.
Get Joey in here because next year, let's say Nebraska finishes strong and everything comes back and they add. Nebraska can play some good TV games next year. That Oregon game will be at 6:30 on NBC in the middle of the year. The Ohio State game will be a big noon game in Lincoln. The Indiana game will be a CBS game at 2:30. Damon Williams against Dylan Raiola. Like, okay.
That's
so maybe not
schedule.
having Minnesota or Wisconsin on there. Yeah, people say it's a tough schedule. People may think that Ohio, Bowling Green, and North Dakota will pose a challenge in the non-con.
I mean,
Ohio. Frank
Ohio,
Solich Bowl.
yeah, I was about to say, Ohio posed a pretty big threat to Power 5 teams this year. They beat West Virginia, and they nearly beat Rutgers this season.
Well, no Minnesota, no Wisconsin.
That's dumb.
Next year. No Northwestern. Don't even get to go to the new stadium.
I know. We could have done 16-20 the field
Big 10 sucks. Let's go back to the Big 12.
See if
that's not even the same anymore.
If they were going to Northwestern,
True.
that would be
Good
our
point.
16-20 the zone trip because they would just ask me, "Hey Matt, can
What
6 grown men stay at your parents' house?"
No, that's the content we're here for.
I'd go stay with Aunt Nora.
Hell yes. Good morning, Aunt Nora.
Good morning, Aunt Nora. Hope you're doing well.
So we'll
Love you.
our trip will be to Eugene.
That'd be insane.
Hopefully we can fly into Portland. Maybe it's still standing.
It will be. Go Blazers.
I'll be in
Rip
Portland.
City.
I'll be in Portland twice this year. Twice before Christmas. Yeah.
And you'll be in Miami.
Miami. I'm maybe I will be before January 1 in the two cities that will have the two national championship combatants,
Oh, wow.
Oregon and Miami.
Well, I was about to say, are you traveling to Columbus, Ohio?
I am not going to Columbus, Ohio, and I'm not going to Bloomington,
I did.
Indiana.
You ever want kidney stones? I know a place to
Are
go
you
to
going
get
to
fixed.
Lubbock?
Not going to Lubbock,
Not
but
this
have
year.
been to Lubbock.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It
Overton
is.
Hotel.
It's very flat. You can see Dallas from there.
Nice.
All of the dumb blondes that can't get in any other school come to Lubbock, so it's good.
That's
fun
kind
time.
of rude.
They got a big Patrick Mahomes mural when you come down the elevator at the airport. It's right there. It's mammoth.
Do they actually?
Yeah.
That's
I
kind of
like. I
embarrassing.
really
Marsha
like
Sharp
Lubbock.
Freeway?
From the times where we all travel down there for the Big 12. Lubbock is growing. Like they got a couple of loops now.
Good
Yeah,
for
I
Texas.
like Lubbock. They have really good facilities.
Gas
Everybody's-
is cheap there.
Everybody's moving to Texas.
Well,
That's
no
what they
state
tell me.
income tax.
Sounds nice.
No fall, no winter.
All right, coming up in about 15 minutes, Jay Paterno will join us. Jay currently is on the Penn State Board of Trustees, the son of Joe Paterno, and he has a thought or two about his friend, Matt Rule, on 1620 The Zone. So slate in the Big Ten this weekend. Notre Dame, USC under the lights on NBC will be a hot commodity.
Bush pushed 20 years ago.
But I was looking at the TV ratings yesterday.
Today.
Well, the TV ratings came out from this past weekend. We love football in America, by the way. We watch so much football.
I know those numbers you're
Thank
talking
you.
about
Yeah.
on game day and stuff like that. And I could not believe, first off, we already have a lot of people who watch football in this country. I didn't know that there were that many more people who weren't already watching football. I didn't know that the ceiling could continue to rise.
You mean
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the 27 million watch the Lions and the Chiefs.
There was so this was a stat from ESPN PR. 2025 has delivered top 6 regular season shows of all time. 2.7 million average viewers, up 16% over 2024 week 7. 3.4 final hour plus viewers, beating the competition by 124%. This is all for game day.
Yeah, so
it's all for the pregame show.
They're the part of watching a lot of football, and we watch the SEC and we watch the Big Ten, is it shows you that CBS made one of the worst decisions in the history of decision making when it comes to Saturday programming. How they ever let the SEC's number 1 game at 2:30 Central Time get away befuddles me, because the SEC is smart. They have a triple header on ABC.
Yeah.
They go 11, 2:30, and 6:30 on the same network. Those 3 games outdrew the entire Big Ten spread across CBS, Fox, and NBC on Saturday night. But CBS gave up, and it was always the number 1 game in the SEC was at 2:30 on CBS. Now, they were getting a hell of a deal before the SEC blew up, but to allow that to walk away where you traded the number 1 SEC game for a weak Big Ten game. Now, the presentation is great. It looks great on CBS, but in terms of getting eyeballs, one of the most failed media decisions that CBS and sports programming has ever had.
You absolutely made a mistake in going from what you said, the best SEC game, to what, the second or third best Big Ten game.
Yeah, you might one weekend you might get lucky and it turns out to be the game because of the draft. But look you have LSU, Vandy, Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama. That's the triple header on ABC.
And with the rankings as well, with how just there's so many SEC teams in the rankings and stuff, then they're just so ballooned up. It's easier for CBS to sell, even if they had the second best SEC game, compared to being hey, and maybe this is a bad example because of the result, but still, you went from having Alabama, Vandy to then having UCLA, Penn State. That was your trade. That was it's disgusting. Now, I'll say this with the triple header, ESPN having Joe Tessitore, as their
screaming at me.
No, but having him as an ESPN honk, an SEC honk is actually really good.
I have to mute
for that.
I loved me some.
I like Tess, and Tess is really good at putting the conference over, and he's really good at putting players over, and I think that's good for that conference.
Tess great at boxing, by the way.
Really, that doesn't surprise me.
Oh yeah.
That's his.
Yeah.
He's
awesome.
Damn good at boxing.
He's awesome at wrestling. He is really, really good on those panel shows. He's legit.
But Sean McDonough is doing the Saturday game or Saturday night game, I believe.
Sean McDonough's great too.
So a couple of unique things here going into this weekend of football. You don't want to lose to Oregon.
Oh yes, give me the stats. What are teams 1-14 with 3 fired head coaches?
Yeah, so 3 coaches that they've played this year have been fired since they played Oregon.
What? Oregon State, Oklahoma State, and Penn State.
Yes.
You also don't want to be a state and lose to Oregon,
That's
apparently.
True. Also, here's how things have shifted as we're about ready to talk to a Penn State man. So during the summer, when the lines all came out and we were looking for content, Penn State was an 11.5-point favorite over Iowa. And now they're a 3-point dog.
What was that line?
It was 11.5.
No.
It was 11.5.
For the Nebraska game. Did that line ever open up? I thought that line
I did
was
not see that as a look ahead line.
Okay.
But the Penn State Iowa game was 11.5 this summer.
They were the preseason number 1 Big Ten team this year. They were ranked over Ohio State, the defending national champion.
Yep. We'll figure out what happened and what's next in State College Is our guy on the chat room today? Pat Kraft is hanging out with us. What is my guy Jay Paterno going to say? He joins us next on 1620 The Zone. All right, halfway through the college football season, buyout season, the race to the playoff, everything is coming to a head as we welcome in
Wednesday, October 15th, 2025.
From the Penn State Board of Trustees, the son of Joe Paterno. He's joined us before. It is Jay Paterno. Jay, thanks for your time this morning. Welcome back to 1620 The Zone in Omaha.
Good to be on.
Hey, let's start from the beginning. So 34 weeks ago, 5 minutes from going to the national championship game, Penn State was feeling really good. And then on Sunday, after losing their third straight game, James Franklin is out of a job. Jay, how did Penn State get to this point where James Franklin won 13 games last year, is unemployed, and now all of a sudden they have an opening at Penn State?
It is dizzying to think about it. And even if you want to shorten that time zone, that time frame, you look at a couple weeks ago, we're up 7 points against Oregon in the first overtime. Oregon's got 4th and 1. If we stop them, we win. We're probably number 2 or number 1 in the country. I think, between last year and this year, I think the expectations really outran how good this team was. Tom Coughlin, they won the Super Bowl in 2012, and they were 9-7. The next year, someone said, "Hey, Tom, what could you possibly need to improve on because you won the Super Bowl?" He said, "Hey, we were a 9-7 football team." And if you look at Penn State last year, there were 3 games that you look at that they won in one play. So they were as close to being an 8-4 team last year as they were to get the national championship. So nobody looked at it that way, and the expectation levels became national championship or bust. So I think when the Oregon loss happened, there was a real hangover and a cloud that just kind of came in, and they couldn't shake it before UCLA. And then the Northwestern loss really kind of shocked everybody, as did the UCLA thing. And I think, there's been some impatience and some criticism of the record against certain teams or certain teams that are ranked high. And I think that it became a pretty toxic environment. We had college hockey game on last Thursday, and when the other team scored a goal, the student, and this is college hockey, the student section of Penn State was chanting "Fire Franklin."
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy.
That's crazy. Jay, Matt here. I want to thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, I don't have to tell you that this isn't just a normal moving on from a head coach and trying to find a new head coach, right? This is a very special set of circumstances considering, how many wins James Franklin had and the fact that Penn State was a nationally relevant program that was competing in the top 10 and just never seemed to be able to get, that Big Ten Conference Championship win or that national championship win. Considering all of the circumstances, what do you think are some of the challenges that might come in this head coaching search for Penn State?
Well, I think the challenge is going to be this. If you're a school like Penn State or Nebraska or Alabama or whatever it may be, the blue blood, if you fire your coach in October, the kind of profile that you're looking for in your next head coach is most likely going to be somebody who's very successful at another pretty high-level program. Now, that may not be the case, but those guys are engaged in seasons that are successful themselves, and they may not want to leave. So you're going to have a hard time getting some of these guys even talk to you at this point that you might want to talk to. And again, I am not privy to any lists or anything like that. But that's the challenge, is to get the person you want. And, with the signing day being in December and all these things, that makes it hard to get a guy on board that's going to help you retain your recruiting class, because the high level guys they're in the middle of some great things they're doing themselves.
Let's get right to this, because why we have you on. He played. Played for your dad. You know him. And you coached him. So how viable is Matt Rule to Penn State, and how viable is it? Doesn't make sense for Matt Rule to be involved at Penn State?
Well, I don't want to get into Matt Rule's thinking or that kind of stuff. I want to be careful, because I don't want to say something to you guys, and then the next press conference, Matt Rule's got to answer a question because
we
I
promise we
something.
won't.
Yeah, we won't.
But I will say that let me talk in the abstract about Matt Rule and the job he's done in Nebraska, and I think he's done a really good job in Nebraska. I think he's a really good coach. And I think that if you look at the things he espouses and the kind of things he has in his program, discipline, toughness, that kind of stuff, I think Nebraska, as I look at it, I know they're coming to Penn State in a few weeks. That game scares the heck out of me, because I know they're playing really well. They're playing solid defense. They got a quarterback now that has really kind of found his mojo with Holgerson as the offensive coordinator. So I think Matt is a guy that certainly a lot of programs would love to have in their program. But that said, that's all I'm going to say, and I'm not implying that we are involved, because again, I'm a trustee. The AD's got to make this call. I'm not going to stick my nose in. And like I said, I've known Matt for a long time. He was a state college, went to high school in the same high school I did, state college, although many years after me, because I'm a much older vintage than he is. But one of the great guys I ever coached, and I've loved watching his coaching career. And I really hope Nebraska, with the exception of 1 week, has a great run in this season.
So let me.
They could easily run the table, not easily.
Yeah.
They could run the table and be in the playoff. I mean, I think they're close.
How important, because I know what you're saying, but you know what Penn State needs. How important is it to have a connection to the Paterno tree as the next head coach at Penn State, understanding the landscape of the passion of that fan base and also mixing in the current setup of college athletics?
I think it's a factor that would certainly weigh in someone's favor if they were connected. But I would also say this: I think the most important thing is, it's got to be the right fit, no matter who it is, and it's got to be somebody who understands whether you're from the Paterno coaching tree or not. Understand the commitment to academics and athletics has got to be there. Nebraska's got a great tradition of that too, with tons of academic All-Americans, just like Penn State. You got to have that commitment. Because I think if you look at us the last 10, 12 years, we've been 17th out of 18 in the Big Ten in APR rating, the academic performance rating. So I think there's some people that would like to see that come back to where we were, where we belong academically and athletically. There's a commitment to doing things in the community, having the right kind of people around. And not that didn't happen with James, I'm not implying that in any way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important for someone to come here to understand. And I think sometimes you see people kind of really swing for the fences with a coaching hire, and it's not a good fit.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be important that the fit is right. That's why when Matt got hired in Nebraska, I thought that's a great fit for Nebraska and for Matt. And I think certainly I would hope Penn State, we find someone with the right fit because, at the end of the day, as my dad used to say about recruiting, recruiting's a little like getting married. You can tell a couple little white lies to make yourself look better, but sooner or later you got to live together, and you got to be realistic about what's going to happen. And I think that's been the most important thing for Penn State, is to get somebody who understands what we're about.
So Jay, bringing all your thoughts together here, right? Because you're totally on point in terms of, obviously, I mean, any football program, but Penn State specifically is going to want to hire a coach that has had a lot of success and probably is coaching right now and coaching a really good team right now. But then you bring up fit. How do you balance those two things in your opinion? Are you more willing to take a coach that has those pelts on the wall, that has the national championships, that has those conference championships, that may not be the greatest fit, as opposed to, or you're going to take a guy who's a better fit that doesn't have those pelts on the wall?
I think fit is number one by no question. I mean, I remember when Rich Rodriguez went to Michigan, and I said, oh man, it's Michigan, it's all that, but he's got a system that he likes with certain types of quarterbacks. Michigan had none of those guys on the roster, and I knew Rich, and I just felt like that might not be a good setup for him. And it turned out I was right. Not that I'm Nostradamus or anything, but fit is really, really important, because at the end of the day, the fan base wants someone who understands. I mean, the people that are buying your season tickets and have been for years, much like, the parallels between Nebraska and Penn State are really, there's a lot of parallels. You have people that have had season tickets forever. I mean, this is generational stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't just like I've had them for 5 years. And some of these season tickets get handed down to the next generation. So there are people that have an expectation of what Penn State stands for and what it means. And I think understanding that fit is going to be vital for whoever becomes the next head coach.
Hey, you not only coach there, your whole life has been Penn State. You've written about it. You know the landscape of college athletics. We're going to go in a month and see Beaver Stadium, and it's in the middle of a $700 million renovation project. The university, or the athletic department, just had $49 million go out the door to get rid of James Franklin. If you look at the landscape, and we're big fans, by the way, from afar of Pat Kraft. We've actually gotten to know him at Big Ten Media Days with his connection with Matt Rule. How good is the Penn State job right now in today's college football, Jay?
Well, we've invested close to $900 million in facilities, in the stadium renovation. Probably too much. We probably overdoing the stadium a little bit, but But there's going to be a debt load that we have to deal with. But in terms of this fan base and the excitement for what comes next, I think it's a hungry fan base right now that wants that will support whoever becomes the next guy. I think, look, we're fortunate that we're within 3-4 hours of a ton of talent by car.
Mm-hmm.
You go into DC, you go into Philly, you go to Pittsburgh, you go to New Jersey. So, I mean, you can recruit here. It's a lot. There's a lot of good things, but I know fans on your radio station do not want to hear me selling Penn State as a great destination to anybody who may or may not be listening.
How? One final one. What do you think? Because I know you're playing the good role of you're on the Penn State Board of Trustees, but in your mind, what do you think the timeline looks like? I mean, more than likely, whoever is the next head coach currently is coaching, and they're not going to leave tomorrow. But what do you think the timeline will look like when they finally get to their decision?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think there's still, in the middle of the season, I think there's a lot of other moving parts. But I would assume that, look, most ADs, if they're worth their salt, have a piece of paper or a note that has some potential short list because your coach could leave or resign or get hit by a bus. Hopefully not hit by a bus, but so I think they generally have some ideas. But once you're actually dealt with reality, then I think there's an element of, oh well, I've got these 2 or 3 guys I like, but I better look around and see for somebody maybe I don't know. Mm-hmm. Years ago, my dad in 1968 had an undefeated season, and Don Cannon was the AD at Michigan. And Don called him, and they met in Pittsburgh, and Don offered him a job. And Joe said, I'm not going to go. I like where I'm at. But 2 days later, Don Cannon called and said, hey, have you heard of a guy named Bo Schembechler? And Joe said, I have, but I don't really know him. And Don Cannon said, well, Woody Hayes told me it's the best assistant coach he's ever had. And Joe said, well, you ought to hire him before Woody said that. And when it was announced, everybody said, who the heck is Bo Schembechler? The Michigan fans were not excited about it, but 10 years, pretty soon they got real excited about it. So there may be somebody out there that nobody's even thought of. So, we'll see.
Jay,
but I will tell you guys, if you come out for the Penn State game, make sure you hit me up. We'll take you and get you some food.
Oh, we are on it. Thank you, Jay. We appreciate it as always. That's Jay Paterno, member, of course, the son of the late Joe Paterno, Penn State Board of Trustees. So he kind of walked the line there.
Yeah, did a very good job of it. Are we now going out to the Penn State game?
Yeah, let's go to the Penn State game.
Good food.
Jay Paterno?
The awkwardness that will be that game.
Oh, Lord.
Because that would be at the tail end of the season where you'd be getting ready to announce a coach. I want to say this about this search, and we're on to day 3. So Rule was day 1. Now Joe Brady was yesterday. The Terry Pagula connection. The Pagulas financed the Penn State hockey program, which is wild. I had not heard that story yet. That at the hockey game on Thursday night, that the students were chanting "Fire Franklin." Yeah,
the Clarkson hockey team were confused.
So let me tie this back into something Rule said.
Okay.
Because Rule then talked about Franklin's kids.
Yes.
And so I wonder if he had been talking to somebody in State College, they're like, hey man, it's bad around here. Franklin's kids are getting talked about in school.
Sure.
And then there was an incident at a hockey game. I mean, hello.
Well, let's flip it around here, Gary. Later in that
draft, say that to him.
What? That he would tell him that his okay. But no, this is a good point, because what does he say at the end of that press conference? My daughters can go to the game. My daughters can just sit in the stands and just watch a game. My wife Julie, she's comfortable at Nebraska, right? You don't think that him bringing up, hey, I hate that I saw that James Franklin with his kids in front of him were getting booed, and then also conversely saying my kids and my family get treated so well here in Nebraska. There's a tie in there. There's a 1-1 there. But I thought that last answer from Jay was very, very interesting with the, there might be a smaller head coach that not a lot of people will get excited about, but then they'll end up being very happy about it in the last couple of years. And I don't want to call it a disconnect. It's not a disconnect, but it's a different view from what the fans want and what from maybe Pat Kraft and the people up there are looking at. Because what the fans want is just go and get an Urban Meyer, go and get a Kurt Signetti, go and win a national championship right now. where it seems like the Penn State view is no, we're going to hire somebody who's the right guy for us that is going to be a long-term fit and not necessarily a guy who is for sure going to go out and win a natty right away.
So I think one other thing that I want to mention about Rule is kind of what Jay said and what you just reiterated. Rule in his coaching career has very much been unconventional.
I agree.
Like if you look at the path, so Temple, okay, let's start at Temple. He had a chance to go to Oregon. Where did he go instead? Baylor.
Which was toxic at the time he shows up.
A East Coast guy going to Waco instead of going to the Flash and Dash out in Eugene. Now, remember, you also have a guy that has a connection to the New York Giants.
Yeah.
The New York Giants job opens up. Where does Rule go?
Carolina.
Okay. He could have sat out a year after being fired in Carolina. Where did he go?
Nebraska.
So Rule actually trying to figure things out. And I do know this because I've actually in a setting have heard him say this. It's pretty cool to be the head coach at Nebraska.
Yeah.
He knows what he has and what it can be, but he wants it to be there. He's tough to figure out because if he was a very conventional person, Penn State is a no-brainer.
Oh, without
But
a
in
doubt.
his coaching career, he has done the unconventional of, this makes too much sense to go to the Giants when the Giants job is open. Instead, I go to Carolina. Makes too much sense to go where Oregon, boy, but go to Waco and clean up that mess.
Yeah.
I'm going to Waco.
Yeah.
So I want to put that out there. I don't, who knows?
Sure.
Who knows what's all going to happen in here?
It's an interesting point. I haven't thought about
you have
like
to,
that.
these things take twists and turns. So Rule got to be day one guy. Joe Brady got to be day two guy. I think Pat Fitzgerald to be day three guy. I want my guy Mike Elko to be day four guy. Mike Elko played football at Penn. Okay, when you live on the East Coast back in those, and like Elko and I are the same age, you were either a Penn State fan or a Notre Dame fan.
Are you his PR agent?
No, I'm a big fan of Mike Elko.
Okay,
I think he's a really good football coach.
I like him too.
They're the best team in the SEC
right now. They are,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
But remember, he went to Penn, so he's a smart guy. Big head, lots of stuff in that head.
Size 8.
I think for Penn State, that would be someone I would like go,
that would be so tough for Trev. That would be so tough.
That's his problem.
Don't care. I just like that Mike Elko would be the head football coach at Penn State.
Don't care.
How about that? How about the playoff? The 6 versus 11 game is Texas A&M, Nebraska, and both coaches turned down Penn State. All right, we'll take a break. John Walker will shift gears a little bit. Creighton basketball gets into action on Friday night downtown. Keep listening to 1620thezone.com. Or no, you can listen to us online, yes. The Zone for your chance to win tickets. Plus, we'll talk some college ball. And John Walker, who I think was at the Maryland game.
Was he?
I think he was.
Why?
Well, because they need some people to cover some things.
Okay.
Also, Brandon Vogel stops by. We'll ask him the question, how much does he think is needed for Nebraska to be a power, to invest? The groceries and the chefs. Does Nebraska have enough groceries? Do they have enough chefs to be where Matt Rule wants them to be? That's all to come before we get out of here at 10 on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, Adam Sandler is coming back to town. You're My Best Friend tour is coming to the CHI Health Center in Omaha on Tuesday, October 21st. Go ahead and listen all week to our friend Connor Happer, The Connor Happer Show, and our friends on Unsportsmanlike Conduct to win your way into the show. More details can be found online at 1620thezone.com. You'll be there. I'll be there. It'll be my first time seeing Adam Sandler ever. I'm excited for it.
Our next guy might see him playing pickup with Creighton. John Walker joins us from the World Herald. Good morning.
Good morning. What's up, guys?
Nothing really. Nothing really.
Whiskey.
Hey, I got a question for you. So we've I don't know if you've seen the viral clip that has come out. So the Boston media yesterday played against the Boston Celtic coaches, including Joe Mazzulla. Do you think that we could get a game, whether it be in Lincoln or in Omaha, between the media and the coaches? Do you think you'd like to post up on Mac down low or try and close out on Ballack shooting a three? You think we could get this going?
Okay, the latter of those two is far more likely because I can send myself hurling through the air. However, I think Mac's got
he's got a whole foot on.
For the listeners who don't know, for my readers who don't know, I'm like 5'0", man.
That's not true. You're 5'5".
Mac's got like a foot on me, and so no chance. My best bet would be, he was dunking until a couple of years ago. He would like occasionally dunk during practice
once a year,
and
really?
so my
awesome.
My best bet is that like Father Time has caught up to him at 60. And I'm too quick for him. That would be the hope, but no chance I'm backing him down.
Walk, you balling? You playing pickup?
Yeah, I would play pickup. I know my role though. I'm just a distributor and a defender. Like I'll pop a couple of spot up threes, but you know if that's the game plan, we lost.
Can you give me your NBA comp? What's your NBA comp? John Walker is closest to who? Jose Alvarado or? Are you
Spud probably
Webb?
In that regard, like
Muggsy?
somewhere right in
Robert
there.
Horry.
Great shot, Bob.
Like I just I'm gonna try to not make any mistakes as a distributor.
You know what?
I'll probably give up a few buckets and mismatches.
Sure.
As a defender. But
Derek
I'm gonna bring energy, man. I'm gonna bring the juice.
I got it, John Walker. You are former Atlanta Hawk, former Kansas Jayhawk, and more importantly, former Chicago Bull Kirk Heinrich.
Yeah. That's spot on.
That's who you are.
Hey, that's not
Captain John.
That's not a bad thing to have. Hey, Friday night, because they're going to play in a little over a month in Vegas. Last year, that was fun watching Purdue and Creighton go at each other. That was a fun exhibition because both those teams took that game serious when we thought, they're going to play a lot of guys and they'll be like, we'll try some things. They're like, no, we're in it to win it. And it was very, very entertaining. What do you expect Friday night? How Creighton and Iowa State approach this game, knowing that in about 6 weeks they're going to play each other again?
Yeah, and the other thing too, guys, is I think they each have another exhibition between Friday and when the season starts. Creighton certainly does. So we'd be fools to think that Friday will have the same juice that we thought it could have had 3 months ago before the Players Era schedule came out. Because as soon as those two were matched up against each other, you knew that they weren't going to go as hard as Purdue and Creighton did a year ago. Like Creighton and Purdue had the advantage of knowing that they would not see each other at least until March, if at all. So, they weren't worried about giving away a scout or running sets or this lineup or whatever. Well, that's going to be the case on Friday night when Iowa State comes to town because, yes, as you said, they'll play 5 weeks later in Vegas. Greg McDermott and Creighton weren't too happy about that. I can't imagine that Iowa State was either. I'll have more on that in the World Herald later this week, including some stuff from the Players Era Festival and just how that all unfolded. But no, when it comes to basketball, it'll be good to get back on the court. But no, it won't have the same accoutrement that we hoped it would. Because I think that will happen in Las Vegas.
That's incredible vernacular there, John Walker. AP top 25 poll came out, and the ESPN top 25 came out, and CBS. Everybody had their takes on everything right before the college basketball season, and I think you're in the same boat where we both can't stand the AP poll because it has way too much influence as the season goes on. I digress, though. Creighton is number 23. What is the flaw? Like what when you look at this Creighton roster, and maybe more importantly, when you look at the Creighton roster through the eyes of the national media, what is the flaw that makes them a borderline top 25 team as opposed to a top 4 seed, top 16 team to begin the year?
Right. No, I think if anything, preseason is all about predictive.
Sure.
It's all predictive. They were 41st in Ken Palm's first preseason rankings. And it's like, well, we know that Creighton is not going to be the 41st team in the country by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I take a really good bet against that anyways. And yeah, so the fact of the matter is, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, it just kind of is what it is. The fact of the matter is Creighton lost a generational player in Ryan Kalkbrenner, a 4-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year. Only Patrick Ewing had done that until this past spring. They lost Stephen Ashworth, their starting point guard of 2 years, and they have 9 newcomers. And furthermore, guys, the crown jewel of the crown jewels, if you will, of the offseason are 2 players that head coach was fired last year and finished like middle of the pack in the Big Ten. And of course, I'm talking about Owen Freeman and Josh Dick. I think they're going to thrive in Greg McDermott's system. But again, I'm just painting the picture for what the outside perspective is. It's like, oh, so we're supposed to believe that 2 players from Iowa, including one who missed the last half of last season with a finger injury and then have off-season meniscus surgery, those guys are supposed to lead Creighton back to where it's been each of the past 5 seasons? Interesting. So I think that's really, I've talked to a few people and I've done a few podcasts previewing the season, and I can tell that's the hesitation, like that's the trepidation around Creighton is so much
One, two.
a role in one way or another. Like you have no clue how that's going to play out. But I think Creighton still being 23rd in the AP poll with so much uncertainty speaks to the brand that Greg McDermott and the Blue Jays have built, really since their time in the Big East. It started with Doug's teams in the Missouri Valley and whatnot, but really when they hit that national spotlight, as far as the Big East is concerned. So I understand why they're 23, but I don't know if they'll be the 23rd best team in the country come March. I think they could be a little bit higher than that.
Yeah, no local bias here. I think Ryan Kalkbrenner is the toughest guy to replace in college basketball in 2025, 2026. That includes Cooper Flagg at Duke. I think what he did for that amount of time on both ends of the floor, you just can't. You didn't find another Kalkbrenner. I mean, I think this is going to be a year where and Freeman may roll in and he'll be serviceable and he'll get things done and he'll be successful. But I think as the year goes on, we will appreciate Ryan Kalkbrenner's career at Creighton even more.
Oh God.
Yeah, I think so too. He was just such a unicorn because everyone asked Pat Painter, anyone can find verticality, right? Like anyone can find a 7-footer who can leave their feet and wall up at the rim. Not all of those guys, very few of them, in fact, do that elitely without fouling. So that was what made Ryan such a unicorn, was because he could be on the floor for 36 minutes a game and give you everything he had for all 36 of those and completely alter the way a team scores the basketball. See Louisville, for example.
Yeah.
So no, he really was just a unicorn. I don't know if that's far fetched. Like Cooper Flag, generational talent, right? But like Duke is going to have another 5-star freshman from Montverde, and Duke is going to be phenomenal again. We know that. But yeah, when like you said, Gary, when you have somebody who did what Ryan Kalkbrenner did for as long as he did it at one school, man, that school is going to have a hard time replacing that guy. So I don't think that's far-fetched at all.
Is there, and I'm going to put you on the spot here, but you're smart and
That's
you know
all
what
right.
you're talking about. Is there a player, or is there a style of play, or is there a surprise that, or maybe something that is unexpected or that maybe fans wouldn't fully expect seeing coming from Creighton this season? What I mean by that is like, or you know what I'm saying? Is there a player that might be playing more than people anticipate, or is there going to be a different style of maybe offense that they play, or maybe some different sets, or just something different? I mean, is there anything, any nuggets or any sort of stuff like that I'm fishing for here?
Yeah, I've got a couple while we're
Okay.
talking about the big guys. One, I think I heard somebody say the other day that Owen Freeman's like not going to be a good back to the basket guy. And that will be the larger part that the larger part Creighton will miss about Ryan Kalkbrenner, because his lead is as Kalk was defensively. Obviously, this person said, he was a really good finisher around the rim, and you had to foul him if you couldn't defend him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, that's interesting. But as valid as that was, their point was that Owen Freeman will just be like far less effective as a back to the basket scorer. And I don't think that's the case at all. Go watch his Iowa tape. He is really effective with his back to the basket. And that's why I think he'll work out in the Big East so well, because it's a back to the basket league when it comes to the post. It's always been that way. Like this is the home of elite centers, elite big men. And that hasn't changed. So that's one of them. That's a smaller one. The other thing is literally, and I mean literally, expect everything and anything defensively.
Yeah.
Greg McDermott has talked about how this defense is going to evolve over the course of the season as this team finds itself. Guys, he said that could change from game to game. So we might not see the same defense Wednesday that we do on a Saturday, depending on the matchup, depending on the personnel. And so I think that's going to be really exciting. Kalkbrenner was elite, but like, I don't know, I guess from a fan perspective, as much as you love defending the other team, you probably don't love watching a drop coverage for 4.5 years.
That's true. That's true.
So, it's exciting when your team, when your lead guard pulls up his shorts and gets in somebody's face at half court. I'm not saying that's going to be an every possession thing for Creighton. But again, just expect anything and everything. They're going to have to figure out what works best with this bunch. And as Greg McDermott said, that could change from game to game. So those are the two big things. I really think Owen Freeman's going to be a more effective back to the basket big than I've seen some give him credit for. And I think it's going to be really fun. Maybe anxiety inducing at times to watch Creighton play defense this year.
John, we appreciate it. Only a couple more sleeps of waking up with the newspaper on my doorstep of 17 days of Jaysmas. So we're almost there.
Yeah, we've only got a couple more. I ranked the Big East coaches today. I believe tomorrow I have my predicted starting lineup for opening night.
All right.
Which I've been pretty open about what that's going to be. So
Yes,
there shouldn't be any surprises. And then what's this team's floor? What's this team's ceiling?
Like it.
We'll talk about it Friday morning before they get going.
Hey, I appreciate it as always, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
It's John Walker from the Omaha World Herald, Connor Happer's favorite segment of the 20 hours of radio that we do. Torrey, Bateman, and Nelson Have fun watching them. They're the Iowa State Athletic Guards. There's a lot of new faces that are going to be on the floor Friday night. I mean, they on the scoreboard, it won't matter, but like it does matter like internally because there's a lot of offseason changes, freshman transfers, returning stars on both rosters of how this is all going to mesh together. But they play on Friday. We're lucky. We get 2 really good exhibition games, Friday and Saturday.
Basketball.
PBA is almost sold out, which is pretty cool.
You're gonna have the number 1 overall pick in the building.
I'm higher on KU than most. I think the last 3 years they'll find a way out of the fog.
Yeah,
I like Peterson. I think
really.
I'm high on Purdue right now. Purdue, Louisville, Arkansas, and KU. I am down on Hubert Davis.
Okay,
and I am down on St. John's. It can't just be Patino. I have no idea what they're going to do in the backcourt, and I have no idea the Bryce Hopkins. Who is he going to be?
Well,
because we haven't seen the Bryce Hopkins that when he was good at Providence. We haven't seen that guy for a while. So I'm not as high on St. John's going to be good, but I'm not as high on them as others are.
I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Ejiofor and him work together in the front court. I mean, it's an interesting pairing.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about their backcourt. It's not like they went and got like big time backcourt guys. They went and got big time backcourt guys from like Long Island U. All right. Brandon Vogel will join us next. We got lots of things to catch up with him as Nebraska gets ready for Minnesota. Still 8.5. In the middle of the week. Doesn't Rule speak today?
No, tomorrow.
Okay. So he speaks before they leave. They stay to the normal.
Oh, I don't know. I think
they leave tomorrow.
But he's done it in the past. At least when I was down there, he would do the presser, then he would leave.
Hey, Coach, I heard Jay Paterno and Gary and Matt. This is what he said. I know Jay. Jay's a great guy.
Well,
Jay's got to understand.
I might go there tomorrow.
To
Lincoln.
Oh, okay.
Not State College.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's
not to Jay's house.
It's a long drive. It's not the easiest place to get to when you land in Harrisburg or you land in Pittsburgh and drive across that beautiful state known as Pennsylvania.
Well, good thing for Matt Rule, his team is going to take him there in a couple of weeks.
I had something, but it's not
worth it.
No, it did to take too much of the show.
Okay.
B. Vogues is next. All right, we welcome in from countery.com. A lot of great stuff up there of halfway through the season and what is ahead this weekend in a short week. A trip on Friday to Minneapolis to take on the Minnesota Golden Gophers. It is Brandon Vogel. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, let's jump into this because this was a talking point on Monday, and it'll be a talking point because it's a talking point in the sport about investment finances to get a $30 million roster. You know, Rule likes the $30 to $40 million discussion. What you know and what you feel, how much is needed by Nebraska to invest to get them to that level, to be an elite financial competing program?
Well, I think you'd certainly want to be in the top third of your league, and maybe Nebraska is. To be honest, like I don't think they're probably that far off from at least 30. Um, you know, it's hard to know, but it's kind of the Penn State opening, Matt Rule's obvious connection to the school. It's been interesting in a busy coach firing cycle already to kind of realize that I think a lot of the dots we normally connect here are almost irrelevant. I think it's all about what kind of resources am I going to have to basically pay for my roster, and that's going to be the deciding factor for the Penn State job, for Florida if that opens, and for Matt Rule to come out and put it quite as plainly as he did on Monday. I think just underscored the fact that like these are the stakes of the game now. These coaches are going to get paid like power conference coaches, no matter where they're at. There's now another level of it. So I don't know, 10 more million a year for Nebraska. That's probably where I'd guess the uptick needs to be, but that's a guess.
All right, man. We can all be honest here, right? I have a gut feeling that Friday could be a trap game. I think Gary, he's mentioned it. He's got a gut feeling Friday could probably be a trap game. Brandon,
I haven't said trap. I said my gut on Wednesday says I'm hesitant.
Yes. Brandon, I'm sure I'm just going to assume you probably have similar guts here, but you look at the numbers and the numbers kind of indicate it shouldn't be that at all, that Nebraska has a lot of advantages and they're just straight up the better team, both visually and on paper. And so my question to you, Brandon, is how do I separate my gut and my heart here, or my gut and my brain rather?
Yeah, this one is kind of a puzzle as I've started putting together the preview for tomorrow. Because as you mentioned, like with the numbers that I usually highlight and the way that I choose to look at it, like Nebraska's got some pretty good edges in this game.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I kind of looked at before Monday's press conference, I looked at Minnesota and I was like, it seems like it's been pretty rough. They haven't been as good as I expected them to be. Yet here they are 4-2. And it feels like another one of those PJ Flex seasons where he's gonna make a pretty good dinner from the back of the fridge. So I think there's that danger. There's the history of it. In a more kind of directly game related piece of it, Minnesota's run game is topic of much discussion. It seems like a good matchup for Nebraska. I would say Minnesota's issue is really negative plays. Like when you look at the running backs, their yards per carry isn't that bad. So that becomes a key piece of it in terms of success rate and explosiveness. Basically, Minnesota's run game has been as lowly ranked in those categories as Nebraska's run defense has. So Minnesota hasn't been able to kind of play the ground and pound style it's become known for under Fleck, but I don't think it's off the table in this one, which is a potential source of trouble.
Let me give you a stat, and this is from great guy, Ryan, RK, on Twitter at RDK. So Dylan, in the fourth quarter against Power 4 teams, 78% completion rate, 335 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 5 touchdown drives, 3 field goal drives. Of year number 2, and now we'll start our 20th game. Is that right? 20th game? Or no, wait.
No, it's be 20th.
20th game on Friday night. Is his biggest development in year number 2? We've developed a clutch genie.
It might be. I think his completion percentage was high a year ago for a true freshman, particularly with his Holgerson games. And to up that, which he has this year overall, but to do it especially in the fourth quarter, These last 2 weeks have really been about resilience for Nebraska, and we're probably going to need that again Friday night. I feel like Nebraska has started relatively strong too, which might end up being the bigger thing for Minnesota. I think they're averaging 1 point in the first quarter in games this season. So they've just teams have been able to jump on Minnesota, and Minnesota's come back and through turnovers was able to get it done against Purdue. So this would be a good week not to need to see clutch Dylan Raiola, because I think the big opportunity here for Nebraska is early in the game.
Okay, so we've talked about identity a lot, right? What's the identity? What's the identity of Minnesota? What's the identity of Wisconsin? What's the identity of Nebraska? And I'm looking back and I've been rewatching some of these games and rewatching the offense. I've kind of noticed this trend of like Dana has put a lot out on tape. Like there has been, they've thrown some deep balls, but they've done some screen game, they've done some zone run. Like they've been able to show that, hey, they can be successful in a lot of different facets when it comes to the offense. Do you think Nebraska's identity is their multiplicity? The fact that, hey, we can bomb it deep with Ja'Cory Barney when we really need to, but at the same time, if you're going to play a high shell, we're going to go and dink and dunk it down the field?
Yeah, I think so. And, that's kind of the ideal, or at least it was in the recent past for coaches, we want to be able to be multiple. But you look at how Nebraska has won, the way they had to win against Cincinnati, it was different than, what it needed to do against Michigan State. And then it comes out against Maryland, thinking it can slow down that rush by committing to the run. And it did that, which was kind of a nice box to check for some things we haven't seen that much from Nebraska. So yeah, I do think I came into the season kind of describing Holgerson's offense as extreme practicality, in that it's just like, we'll just go where the defense is telling us to go.
Sure.
And to a degree. And that's kind of what they've done. And if you can do that consistently, and we haven't really seen, even in the Michigan game, the offense had success. We haven't seen anything other than the wind really slow that. So yeah, I'm comfortable calling that kind of their identity at this point.
Hey, let's give me your assessment and even a grade. Defense through 6 games, a defense that some numbers are good, some numbers are E, some numbers are really good, but they're also 24th in the country in stop rate. What's your assessment of 6 games in on defense?
Yeah, it's interesting from a numbers perspective, because as you mentioned, like the rush defense is probably the one that jumps out as the biggest weakness at this point. And there are a few others, but they've gotten great field position. They've forced a lot of basically dead end drives. So kind of going hand in hand with the practicality angle of Holgerson, I think that's what it is. And if you squint, you can kind of see this defense is as good as the previous two, or maybe even better in some regards. But watching the games, it doesn't often feel that way, because those defenses were so good at stopping the run that you saw runs getting stuffed or tackles behind the line of scrimmage. It's easier to see and notice of like, oh, they're really squeezing this team. It's a little bit harder, I think, when your strength is pass defense, because sure, if guys get interceptions or knock the ball down or you get to the quarterback, those are noticeable. But what about just throws that aren't there, throws that can't be made? And I think that's where this defense is really succeeding. And by its nature, that kind of goes under the radar a little bit.
Look, the last couple of years, I think it's no secret that Donovan Raiola's offensive lines have gotten better as the years have gone on, or I think as the games have gone on. Do you think that Maryland, their performance against the Terrapins, was an indication that the second half Donovan Raiola bump is coming?
It was a good step. Friday will be a bigger challenge, because one thing this Minnesota defense does do is limit the run pretty well. So it'll be interesting. It goes with pick your poison kind of with Nebraska's offense, how they try to attack them, because they just had some real success running the football. Do you try and do it again, which is kind of into the teeth of this Minnesota defense, or do you risk maybe a few more turnovers by the way of interception, which is another big piece of, I think, what could happen Friday night. and attack them through the air, which is the path of less resistance. So it'd be interesting to see. But if the O-line does, if we are on the cusp or at that kind of second half surge point for the O-line, Nebraska, that's where the edges that look good on paper actually show up.
We'll get Chatter on this, and Brandon Vogel from Counter Read with us. Must subscribe to the Substack. Him and Aaron do a great job. Aaron Sorensen, Game Day Guide, but also the Game Day chat during the games is fantastic. You labeled it on Monday, which is everything's must read, but I love when Monday at 6 a.m. and that pops into my email box. Phase number 2. So there is a chance we live in a world where on October 17th, Nebraska football could be bowl eligible. Bowl eligible. How will your view of this team change if they win on Friday night, if at all?
Well, it'll make me feel more confident that we have kind of entered the second phase of the rule era, because this was a game in the summer that I think a lot of us looked at and be like, that's tough. Minnesota has traditionally been tough against Nebraska. Maybe they're a little bit off the pace of what I expected, but still going to be tough. And then you have the complication of what Penn State decides to do. And, I don't get the sense that it's a distraction, but you don't know until you know, and the game gets kicked off and you see, does Nebraska look like it has the kind of steadiness that it's shown to this point? But they get through this one, and that Northwestern game's gonna be tougher. But all of a sudden, I think really nothing is off the table in terms of the rest of the season, because I think this is a tough out for Nebraska, and good teams win those games.
Hey, fantastic stuff as always, my friend. Great insight. Look forward to Friday night with all the coverage on counterread.com.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
That's Brandon Vogel from a beautiful studio.
Yes.
In his home in Tennessee. All right, that'll do it for the show. We'll be one day closer to Nebraska, Minnesota.
1 day away from being 1 day away.
There you go. I knew that was coming. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hope everybody enjoyed it. Great guest list today. Lots of great interviews, lots of great content, fun goodies. Enjoy your midweek. We're back with a Thursday edition 20 hours from now. For Jimmy, for Matt, I'm Gary on 1620 The Zone.